It is Tuesday out. It's October 11th. And yeah, we're looking at lunchtime. Little NQ action here. Let me show you what we're seeing on the chart everybody is familiar with. So this is the candlestick chart. This is the 15-minute chart of NQ. You can see this was yesterday's regular trading hour low. Oh, let me make sure I've got everything. If you guys can confirm if you can hear me and see everything, I'd appreciate it. Like I said, feel free to chat in the chat. As long as it's relevant, feel free to post whatever you want. There may be a slight lag in when I see it. I'm trying this ultra low latency option that Streamlabs has. I'm hoping that that it's less lag than it usually is. So let me know about that too if you're familiar with what it usually looks like. So on NQ, we made a low on Monday. We got lower than that in London. We got lower than that in RTH, right? And so we had like the 1, 2, 3 move. That third wave down had the most volume. Pretty classic capitulation. The algo picked it up beautifully. We got the bounce, and I hit my daily target in the first hour and a half, I think, of trading, which is usually how the good days go. We don't usually trade the open, but whatever happens once we know what's going on, we can usually line up a couple trades and make it work. I did catch a trade overnight, and I was streaming it live. It was a short around London Open, which was right here. So we let it go. Oh no, or did we take? Yeah, we took the short after London Open. So it was here that we were shorting overnight. And then I got tired and went to bed. I didn't want to take the long. It did set up. And I went to bed here at 4. And so, yeah, I'm not perfectly rested, but it's all right because I've got my 3-day weekend ahead of me. So I work a regular job Friday through Monday. Now the bells we're hearing are that's the algo telling me that there might be a trade setting up because we've got so much momentum moving out of here and we're exiting the channel where we expect most of the volume to trade in. If we've exited the channel and to the upside and I'm bearish, there's a mean reversion trade potentially developing. We're not going to worry about that too much right now. I just want to give you a quick overview of what I think is going on and what I'm expecting, and then we'll see, because otherwise it's just too confusing if we jump straight into the algo and people don't know like why I'm doing what I'm doing. So we traded down underneath the low of yesterday, underneath London low. We broke back out to the upside, which if anyone knows like Dalton's market theory from Mind Over Markets and how to read a profile and stuff like that, it makes sense that we would bounce here, get everybody short and capitulated and then rip. The pullback here was difficult to hold for those who bought, but there was some signs in this candle here that buyers were going to hold the higher low. So it doesn't have to go in a straight line. It really does, right? It usually develops over time, and what you'll see is renegotiation, filling in empty space, on like poorly auctioned areas. And then what we're really looking for are hints of which side is feeling pressure. And so back here, we saw that buyers were feeling all the pressure because they couldn't get through any of these levels, right? And they couldn't hold above them when they did. And this was the capitulation. This is I wasn't awake for this, but that must have been rough like that. So you'll see on a higher time frame, what it looks like is a sick expansion, right? And I even said last night, this looks like expanding negotiation and that most people probably shouldn't be trading this unless you have a pretty solid system for how to trade that kind of action. But these moves where you go higher than the high and then lower than the low are really tough for most people, especially if you're trading momentum. It actually, like, my process works great, but most people don't. So it's almost fun to sort of show off that there is a way to trade this. You just have to do kind of the opposite of what you think you're supposed to do, because what people want to do is sell the breakdowns and buy the breakouts, and that's just wrong, in my opinion, in this kind of setup. So, but even on the 30-minute, you can see that the level was, we did get a 30-minute close above, but it was pre-market. They went back to the previous day's close settle price here and just rejected it. And then this is the retest that would have warned you to flip here when we retest that 10, 9, 48, 50 blue range level, and it just rejects. Like that's your key, that basically any reoffer can be shorted into the, but I don't usually trade the open, but that's how I would trade that. And then this one, I mean, if you had the extension, you got a sick fill, but really all you just need to see is that it traded below the lows and then it came back up, right? And so anywhere in here would be fine. And you just need to manage your risk appropriately, and that depends on what product you're trading and all that. But with futures, we like to have about a 15-point risk. So yeah, we needed to get in on one of these pullbacks, which we did a couple times. Then on the way back up, the question now is, how do we respond to yesterday's settle, right? Because overnight in London, we tested it and found sellers there. And so what you'd expect normally is that when you go back to a level where there were sellers there before, that they campaign that level and they continue to defend it. But when they get trapped down here at the lows, which they clearly did, you can see it more clearly on the algo or on the footprint, which is what the algo is looking at, to make its signals. But when they get trapped down here, what ends up happening is they, like retail and like the high frequency algos, do defend this level in the first or second try. And then when they can't make a break to the downside, it often consolidates and then breaks out again. So if I had to guess, I would say there's probably liquidity or stop losses sitting up here above like the afternoon highs from yesterday. But keep in mind that the high of the day yesterday was at the regular trading hour open, which is really bearish, right? Like that's not what buyers wanted to see when we reject the Voodoo range level and immediately like evacuate the building, right? Just like this, like that's usually pretty bearish. And then in this case, they tried to pull it back at the end of the day on some news and just rolled over, right? And so could we see that exact same pattern repeat? Yeah, right. But the difference is that down here, even though we did trap shorts down there for the time being, if you look to the left, it wasn't immediately underneath the previous low here, but it was underneath a low from a long time ago. On my from my time frame, it's a long time ago. It's back at the beginning of October. So here, this low got taken out, and the problem is that yesterday, even though we did test below it and put in some excess down there, they rejected right at this Voodoo range level. So like this had a chance to be the reversal, and it just failed, right? Probably because it was Columbus Day and there wasn't enough participation. So when they take that level out in London, again, not enough participation, rejects it. This Voodoo range level goes lower. Now we've taken it out at RTH. They've tried to now squeeze, and we've at least got a poor high here. That's promising for buyers, but you can see that I've highlighted in purple this decreasing volume and decreasing range pivot. Those will work when it's balanced, but they will get traded through pretty easily when it's trending. So while it might sound like a cop-out, the important thing to remember is that if we can start closing candles above that, it's not balanced. It's actually bullish, but that the assumption should be that they're going to try to defend it. It doesn't tell us whether or not they're going to succeed, right? But if we want to know where to, for instance, take profits from the morning longs, this is an awfully good spot to consider doing that. It doesn't mean you can't long this. It's just that you would only want to long it if you thought that there was a chance that we're in trend day up. And while it doesn't usually set up like this, it can. So I'm not... I think the morning will be easier than the afternoon, personally. I think the easier trades are probably done. But you'll see that the Voodoo range levels on the algo are identified by these purple diagonal lines, or diagonal dash lines. I am a little bit tired. I might call stars triangles and mix up colors and stuff like that. So Also highly caffeinated. But yeah, so you'll see these levels have some importance on retests, and we'll find we'll find buyers supporting those levels if it's bullish. It doesn't mean it can't cross it, but we should see some aggressive trading response when we get back there, if we get back there, assuming we do. If we don't see that, then what that probably means is that we're just expanding, but we're negotiating this range, and we're probably going to fill in some of this poorly auctioned area, which happened back here. Here, hold on. The poorly auctioned area was here. So this was the low. Right, we didn't have to set up right off the low, but we got it here. We got it here. And then ultimately this was the best entry, but there were technically 3 trades that set up. This one was a scalp that just set up again. And then, was it this one? Where was the other one? This, where are we? Yeah, this one was the one that I ended my day on after I took this long. I was like, that's good enough, and took profits into this pink background zone, because I knew that if we lose that we're not going to continue higher right away. And so as they crawled up here, we saw a little bit of resistance here. I just exited. I believe that was the one. I'll double check, but I believe that was the one. I've got the fills if I need to. I almost took this one. Where was it? Oh, later. This technically set up. Yeah, it was this one. I almost took this one, but decided that since I had such good results that this was a little bit on the aggressive side. And then set up again and again. Teja on the rim took an aggressive trade here. He let it come back on him. Sorry, Teja, I don't mean to out you, but no, it wasn't Teja. Sorry, it was Karam. But it was a great entry, right? Like it's aggressive, but it's a good entry. The result may not have been perfect, but he got paid on the way up. Just let runners come back on him, and that that's at least we didn't turn it. At least it didn't turn red, right? So I think that's fine. And then it set up here, but I was getting the stream ready and missed that. So the shorts have not been working as well, but there was a couple of them that did work. Like I said, I can review these more carefully if we get some choppy action. So we had a trap here that's set up and paid. Simon took that, and then he reversed it here, back up. And where was the other one? The open, 8:30. Traded to a high, drew a line, traded up to it, pink bar, orange bar, high volume, momentum shift, done. It's and it actually set up long right into it too. So you could have caught that, and there's no long here. As far as I can see, no long, no green inside. It's too bad that one wasn't green. This one is the one that I think was really close to being a long. It technically didn't take this out, and I'm glad I didn't take it. But that could have been a long, and it just didn't work. But it wasn't valid. This is the first long right here. That's why I was turning green. Now you can take stars. So there we go, stars. Now that it's turned green, we're trading above that green bar. Stars long. You could technically take this short, but it's pretty dangerous because shorts are trapped. This is where you know it's going into, where you would expect it's going into balance when that green bar prints and we get below it. But technically, if you're still bullish, that's a long on the star. This short is really aggressive. This one's better. That's valid. That's the better long. This one. Momentum shifts back up with volume. Yeah. Nothing there. That's another entry right here. Just a little bit aggressive. And no long there. It needs to get above this. That's a long. This one depends where the POC is. That might have been a stop. That is also a little bit on the aggressive side for me, but I think this one's good. Yeah. And that's not quite a short. That's a long. It's another star with the volume. Diamond. That's a short right there. Whatever, I don't know where this pivot is, but the reason I draw those lines is because I know that there was a pivot there somewhere before. We traded slightly above it and like trapped them with an aggressive sell. They get, yeah, that's nice. That's a long. I mean, I don't know, you guys. It's hard to beat that. You know what I mean? Like like I said, I can explain them better if we're really just going to do this for a while. We can look at the actual fills. But I didn't take all those trades. But that's if I was programming the algo to just do what I'm supposed to do. That's the trades. It's like literally like one stop, maybe two, if you're super aggressive, and like almost all the longs worked, and there even some of the shorts worked. So yeah, this is just one of those days. I put it in my journal that if I hesitate to take trades and I want to see what it looks like when the system works how it's supposed to, go back to 10, 11, 22, because this is what it's supposed to do, right? Like does it always look like this? No, but when we get the kind of action like the expanding negotiation action where you're getting higher highs and lower lows, this system just rocks. So, and like I said, before knowing this, I didn't have a way to trade that. And that's actually where the system shines the most. And what's cool is you could find the exact same entries without my additional algos. You had them all on the trade and perform algo. So here, you didn't need anything extra. You just needed the basic knowledge of when to take trades. This is technically a short. It's just a little aggressive. And then, no, that one. If you're aggressively long, you go there, but I usually wait. Yeah. You wait for them to beat this. Right there. Now it's long. On every star and green bar. Like from now on. They're trapped. Right there is where I actually took that one. So see, this is almost, I would have to draw the line with this system and be like, did it trap back in? And it, in my opinion, it didn't, because you had a close here and then a wick above. I personally don't, I have to be really confident before I would do that. And I'm not confident that it's bearish. I'm not going to take this though. That's too aggressive for me. I realize it probably works, but I don't usually buy that high. That one is too high as well. That's a momentum shift, but it's not necessarily a trade unless I think it's really bearish. That one is a trade because it's back into that level again. See that? Long. Nothing there. That just rolls. That's a long. So it's hard, right? Like you get 10 points, your runners get taken out, and you have to be ready to come right back in again. That's the challenge of this price action. And then the second one worked so much better than the first. What we call second mouse trading. That's another one. Get long. You can see with just the trade and perform algo, it's a lot cleaner. That one's too high. That one's too high. It's not that it's never going to work, but the likelihood that it's going to immediately extend is not so great. And then you have to be careful whether or not, if you get a bearish sign underneath that bar, it can actually roll over. So when they don't do that, and then they give you a green bar or a star going up like that, that's when you want to get long. Because this guy is vulnerable to getting trapped, and they try, and they can't do it. They only put purple bars underneath them. And so that's the long, yeah. That's the one Teja took, I think. Or, sorry, I keep on saying Teja. Karam took. That's a aggressive long, but it's valid. Yeah. And it's just not setting up short. It's just not setting up with this system, and that's okay. You know, it's just like they're just trapped. There's not enough negative order flow. Like bearish order flow, that's a bit too long. I mean, yeah. Again, this one's a little too high, so now we can just draw a line. Say if we get under this and we get an aggressive seller, we probably don't want to be long anymore. That's an aggressive short, but it's valid. And it works. That's a long. Right? It's just, they all set up on both systems. That's a short. Pink bar, orange bar on the lower high. See, but then they flip it. That's technically a long. So now they're getting choppy. And the long works. Yeah. So no matter what you're doing, whether or not you're trading in the room on Simon's screen or if you're watching what I'm looking at, usually the trades are the same. All the extra stuff here is just to keep me attentive to where I'm supposed to be getting trades in and to help me determine which ones are aggressive and which ones aren't. But all my entries can be found on Simon's screen, right? Because it's that same system. It's just some added ideas. But this was hard to take. This would have been really tough to buy this. To be fair, this would have been really tough. But you could do it if you were bullish. And if you weren't sure, you could see that the VPOC on the wave up was, you can't really see it, but it's down here at the pink here. So as long as buyers don't give that up and we don't get any volume developed down here, it's going to be pretty hard to flip this. It doesn't mean you can't get a short signal, but they're just going to be scalps on the short side until we do something like where we put volume at the low of a wave and we break underneath it. There's just no reason to be short. I realize that's kind of complicated, but once that started to make sense to me, it made direction a lot easier. You just have to know what would happen if the shorts were taking over, right? If the bears had control, what would it look like? And what it looks like usually is on the way up, volume gets put in at the highs, yet they're unable to get any continuation. And then these aggressive sellers show up below wherever all the volume was. Let's say this was the biggest volume. It's not, but let's say it was. And you get the star showing up. Whoops, I didn't point to the right one. You get the star showing up and closing below all that volume after they tried but failed to go higher. That's bearish. But what we have here is if we draw the profile again on the way up, it's hard to see, but this is just the volume profile, right? So you can see there's a couple, there is a volume build up there, but it's not where most of the volume is. Most of the volume is actually down here. That's the VPOC of the last 30 minutes, that pink dotted line. And that's exactly where all the volume was here. There's a pink line there, it's just hard to see. There's a solid line there. Here, I'll show you. If you get close enough, we'll see it, I think. Oops. Oh, God. What did I do? Sorry. Oh, God. Hold on. I fucked it up. Reset. Wow. What did I do? There we go. And then, so where's the pink line? Oh, is it not down there? Where is it? If it's not there, then where is it? Oh, is it covered up? No. I thought it was here, but I actually don't see the pink line at all. It should be a solid pink line. And I just don't see it. That's weird. Let me just... Hold on. Let's make sure it's not a settings problem. Yeah, see, it should look like that. We should see a big old pink line at the VPOC. I don't know why it's just missing there. I guess we can just look at volume, and we can see that volume dried up at the highs. And you'd think that's bearish if you're a momentum trader, but not in this scenario. Because what that means is that the bears need to break through that volume to turn the market, and getting these little consolidations are going to do them no good. Right? So I know it's opposite from what you learn if you're used to buying breakouts and you're told that volume confirms price and you should be bullish when there's more volume as you're pushing higher. That's true at the breakout point. But if you want to know whether or not you have the likelihood of actually continuing, it's not by the sign that you have more volume at the highs is not necessarily bullish. What it means is that volume is vulnerable. Those traders have the potential of being trapped. So what you actually want is price to continue rising despite all the volume being at the lows, and shorts to be unable to take back that price level. That's actually more bullish. And I realize that's like not what they teach you in on the internet. But yeah, we're not trading, we're not momentum trading here. We're identifying that it doesn't mean that you buy the breakout. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're trying to decide if you should buy this breakout or not, wherever this broke out, let me see. If you're trying to decide here, right here, if you're trying to decide, should I buy this breakout here, and you see that there's no volume up here, yeah, of course, don't buy it, right? But when you then measure and you see that all the volume is actually much lower down here, or if anything, it's like distributed down here, you might not want to buy it yet, but you certainly don't want to be short if they can't even get price back to that level. So when they try with an aggressive signal and they fail, and instead you put volume going on the upside, like it's going higher. It might not have set up for me, like it technically did here, purple bar star. That is a long. It's just kind of, it's not recklessly aggressive, but it is aggressive. It would, and yeah, when it works though is when the direction is clear. When it's obviously bullish, those aggressive trades work repeatedly in one direction, and they'll stop working. So like if this is a star, it won't work to the downside because pink bar and purple bar are just the same signal inversed, and the white star and the yellow star are just the same signal inversed. So a lot of times what you'll see is when you have a lot of momentum, like all the long setups, even the aggressive ones, will continually work, and the short setups will just continually fail. So if you don't know which direction we're going, like once you learn a couple of these setups, you know which ones are aggressive and which ones aren't. Like the conservative ones work, well, not all the time, but often, and the aggressive ones will stop working when you're trading against the trend, with few exceptions. Sometimes they'll work, but that's usually because you ran into a location that was being defended. So you can see we did hit the voodoo range level up here, and they're finding sellers there. See that? They're trying to defend that. That arrow there is a signal I've added that indicates that there's a seller here that maybe didn't get filled or reloaded his position. So he was a passive seller, and you can see what often you'll see is a delta shift here. So like where it's all blue and then it's suddenly red, or vice versa. You'll see that whenever you get the arrows. It's not necessarily a sell signal, but it means that this level, if I was bearish, would probably be a good place to look for shorts. I already knew that because it has a voodoo range level there, but if that level wasn't there and I see this and I think it might be bearish, which, like I said, I'm not bearish, but let's say I was, I would now be looking for stars down or orange bars down that interact with this range, because that basically means that heavy seller that keeps reloading or wasn't filled is getting defended, right? The seller, like he's either like filling his order lower, which is aggressive, or someone else is aggressively following him into the trade, suggesting some continuation. So yeah, it's not always a sell signal, but if you can get a sell signal in that range, that the likelihood of that sell signal working increases. I hope I'm explaining that okay. By itself, it's not a sell signal. It doesn't mean you can't sell it, but it's not enough to sell. The pink bar, orange bar, which you'll see on Simon's too, his is just like a little square in here on his screen, but I've changed it to the colored bars because I have a hard time seeing the little squares. That is an aggressive, it's the same short as this. It's the exact same pattern. It's just volume getting shifted with price. And it doesn't work all the time, no, but when it's way up here above this channel, the colored channel, it's when it's way up here, you need a lot of momentum to immediately break through that, so it's a pretty good scalp back into the channel, usually the midpoint. He doesn't have his midpoint marked, but I do. My midpoint is the gray line here. I've removed the other channel lines, the radar lines. I'm keeping the outside ones. I've gotten rid of the inside ones. I didn't think they were that distracting, but when I removed them, I feel like it's a little cleaner, and I just don't need them as much as now that I've decided that I like the midpoint more. I can kind of I've watched it for long enough that I have a sense of where they are. I might not catch the perfect, like there are some trades where you wait for the yellow or the purple lines to get tagged for pullbacks. So like if this would pull back into here and then trigger, it's like there's a trade there. But what I've been watching instead is the VPOCs, the little dashes here, and my yellow line here, this yellow line. I've been watching for situations where it's bullish. They try to pull it back, but they can't get the yellow line underneath the midpoint on a bearish bar, just like this. And it makes star entries and high volume entries to the upside much better. So that trade has basically replaced the trades that bounced off the other line. So I just removed it, and I feel like it's a little cleaner that way. The other thing I recently changed is I added the 30-minute VPOC. So this stair step pink dotted line, is the VPOC over the last 30 minutes, like a running 30-minute VPOC. But it's not, what am I trying to say? Every 30 minutes, it's recalculated, right? So you're going to see it move more often than that, but there's going to be big shifts at the 30-minute mark. I would prefer it's more dynamic like this one, but I am finding it useful. So especially because I notice when they hold it in the same place for a long time, they like to come back and tag it before they continue higher, or vice versa if it's bearish. So like, for instance, this wasn't very long, but if let me see if I can find one. Whoops. Yeah, that short. See that? Oh, hold on. Before we go look for that, see how it's coming into the midpoint? So if you're still bullish, what you want to see is them not being able to get the yellow line below the gray line on a bearish bar. And if they do get it below there, you want to see stars and green colored bars like this coming off of the midpoint. If that doesn't happen and instead they develop volume below the midpoint, the likelihood is that the next push up is going to get sold. It doesn't mean it's an immediate sell down there. You don't just want to like sell down here. But if they can't hold that midpoint, chances are we're balanced now and no longer bullish on this tiny little time frame, the 24-tick time frame. So your choices are look at a higher time frame for locations to get long on a pullback, or wait for them to retrace back up so you can short it. That would be your choices. But what I'm finding is when it does this, and it tests it and comes back with a star, that's often a buy as long as it's bullish. And when they can't do that, and instead they just like dribble down into here, the next push up does not reach above the channel most of the time. It can reach the blue, but it rarely gets up here, if that makes sense. We'll see if that holds true here in a minute. So let's see what they do with this, and then I can show you how I'm using the 30-minute VPOC. Because it's not a direct trade entry, but it's helping when it comes to determining who's in control, just to see what they do in response to wherever that VPOC was. It's not necessarily to where it is. It's more, in my opinion, it's more useful to look to the left and see where it was. Obviously, you can just draw it too. You can just draw it and see it. Now this one actually shifted up during that. See how it used to be down here? And then it shifted up right there, right? So what I can then do is draw a line here and basically say, developing volume to the downside below that, which is happening currently, would be a sign that moves back up could be shorted. So let's see if they confirm that. It's really close right now because this VPOC, this dash, is right on the midpoint, basically. It's like one tick below it, so it's like close enough for hand grenades, but technically, is it lower or not? Like, yeah, it is technically lower. So if I trade into computer to take that trade, it would be bearish now, looking for a short. I don't know how precise you can actually be with that. You know what I mean? Like, because you adjust those settings slightly and that midpoint moves a little bit. So it's technically bearish, but on this time frame for me now, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if an aggressive buyer just like rips through that easily. But to do that, they're going to need a star here, basically, or a green candle, a green bar like this. The green outline won't be enough. That's not. Some of these are outlined green, and that's not necessarily a trade signal. It has to have location with it too. But it is a good place to look to see if they can hold below. So like, see how they can't hold below it, and suddenly you get another push. So if we get below this guy and find sellers, that's bearish. Oh, look, they're trying to push it back. I'm not going to buy this because they did technically print a bearish bar with the VPOC slightly below the midpoint. So even if this has a star, I'm going to avoid it and wait for a better opportunity. If they go star, pink bar, orange bar, that's a beautiful short. But you can see that if I extend this VPOC line to the left, to the right, you'll see it aligns with that dotted line, which is the 3-day VPOC. So we should expect some choppy trading here. It's probably not a good place to enter trades. And if I was long from like earlier and I hadn't gotten out yet, I would be out now. Like this is the first spot that I've really seen that first of all the slightly aggressive short worked. We got an extension up here that where volume was not based at the low, but instead was distributed closer to the high. See how there's technically like 2 volume builds up here, right? This one is bigger, but there's also a volume build at the high, and they aggressively traded through that. See that? No real strong attempts to hold that VPOC, right? So that in and of itself is already, for me, like time to reconsider whether or not I think we're going to go higher immediately. It doesn't mean we can't bounce. It's not over till it's over, right? The other hint here is that we have this pink background that went on for quite some time. It's a sign that bulls are trying to push, they're shifting momentum up, but it means that this low here needs to be defended because it takes a lot of energy to do this. And when you don't defend the spot where the momentum shift started, it's usually a sign that whatever direction it was going is probably that like whatever you want to call it, like the Weiss waves have like over down here the accumulated volume waves. It means that this wave here probably got a little bit ahead of itself. It doesn't mean it can't go higher. It just means it probably won't go higher right away if they get under this. I don't have to wait for this low to get taken out. All they need to do is develop volume below this one. And already I would know that we're probably not even going to balance in here. It's actually bearish. Without getting the low down here, it's balance. But we have traded below the midpoint here, and we had a short that worked at the very high. So balance here would make the most sense. I know I'm kind of covering all my bases there, but like I said, I'm going to assume balance until I have evidence that sellers are getting some momentum. But what's important is to see that I'm willing to shift from being ultra bullish like a couple hours ago to thinking, okay, we might not be immediately continuing higher. And we looked at the candlestick chart earlier. We saw that actually, here, I'll show you. It makes sense, right? That we test above the voodoo range level and then reject it. And we had this high, it's not the, yeah, it is. It's the Globex high. So we traded above the Globex high and couldn't get to the afternoon RTH high. It's a very, very regular place to see a reversal, but they won't necessarily take the low. It just probably means we're going to re-auction some of this. So you would have had to be aggressive to short this. But if they came back up and gave me another opportunity here, I would have taken it. Confidently. And that's actually still the case. If they come back up here and they roll it, it's short now. But you need the signal, obviously. Okay, are they going to print a star here? That would be basically not an entry, but a sign that that bulls are basically, yeah. So there's the star. So now bulls are basically they've shown their hand that they need to defend this, and now we're gonna see if bears are bluffing or not. Basically, I'm not buying this because I'm not that aggressive. But when it's really bullish, we'll just get a huge extension here. It's just that probably only happens 20 or 30% of the time, so it's not worth it taking it for me. But it is usually an opportunity to see just how strong the bears are, because they will immediately crush this if they're really strong. And if they're not really strong, what you'll see is a pink bar here, followed by a star or an orange bar, and that's a really good short. What the bears don't want to see is a white bar that closes up here. Because that would suggest that they're actually getting follow through. So if this white triangle prints, like we have to wait for the close, and the bar's not pink, like bears are still trapped basically. So let's see if they can close it lower. Then these guys are probably going to give up. And if it's pink, then I might get a setup. So to get close to the bullish side, it's got to get to 1025 before it gets to 92. I'm not confident that's going to happen, but you really never know. Notice that they're suggesting that if we do close it bullish, it would be another star. So that means there's an aggressive trader in here, which is like concerning, right? Like they got for bulls, they have an aggressive trader trying to support this star, right? There's like he basically like this. You could think about it, if there's an algo that just buys every star, or that every time they buy it produces a star, which is one way to think about it, because it's just looking at like a condition. I can't like go any further than that, but it's looking at a condition on the footprint and on the DOM, and so whoever did that here, like the same exact conditions will exist here if they close it at the green line. So like when they don't do that, it means that guy, the same guy who bought here, tried to defend his position and failed to defend it. So closing bearish after you see this potential star, and especially when it comes right after this star, it's like if you didn't already know that this was an important spot for bulls to hold, you do now. Like I said, they're forcing bulls to show their hand here. And we're gonna see how it's turning pink. If it closes up here with pink, we're gonna get ready to short it. If it sets up. If it closes white, we're definitely not shorting. Oh, the star went away. Interesting. So not enough aggression to the upside. Like the aggressive move to the upside is not as strong as it was here. Let me just say that. Yeah, and as soon as the star disappears, and that basically is a sign that bears are defending the level. That makes sense. That makes sense. Buyers are probably going to give up here. I'd hate myself if I would have bought that star, right? Like that's why I have that rule, where once you've seen the short work, even though it's aggressive and it's way above the channel and it pushes and gets a bearish bar with a POC clearly below the midpoint of the channel, like doesn't mean it can't go higher, but those pushes higher better have a shit ton of momentum, otherwise it's not going to make a new high. It's just really hard to bounce it here, really hard, after getting this bar here. Renko is just kind of cool, like it's pretty neat. But here see how the POC was way up here, and look at how much power we need for bulls to even get it back up there. If this was, remember what this looked like? It was like pink, pink, white, white, pink, white, 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 right? Like it was, they had no trouble at all. There was no, even when they tried to sell it, they couldn't close a single bar bearish. So if they can't even get a second bullish bar here, there's a big change in character suddenly. Yep, they're going to close it down here, I bet. The fact that it's taking them so long makes me think it's going to be balanced and that we're not going to get any more trade setups. That's the only problem. They need speed to really make this flush. Like neither side is really looking that convincing right now. But if anything, all right, so they get a red outlined bar, meaning that it stretched a little bit higher than you'd expect for a bear bar, and yet it's still closed bearish. It's not necessarily a trade signal, but it's probably going lower. I personally need a little bit more than just knowing that it might have trapped a buyer, but I mean you could see it on the footprint that they trapped that aggressive trade. Here, I'll show you. They trapped an aggressive trader near the high of that bar. These aren't Renko bars, but what you'll see is the high is right where this gray area ends at, what's 1105, let's say, just above 11. No star here, see that? No green bar, no star. They just like stalled the sell, and so this is gonna roll over. So it's right here. So they trapped buyers here. See that? These guys all got trapped. And that's what the red outline is showing me. It's like, hey, we traded all the way up here, yet we closed lower. What they do with that, I don't know, right? Like that's, yeah, they trapped them on that second one. They traded up there, they tried to get there, and they trapped them. So these guys are the trapped ones. And why did they get trapped? Because these guys bought way high. So once these guys were trapped, it means these guys are also trapped. It confirms that these buyers are not going to get bailed out. Like this is technically the ones getting trapped. This is when you know that they're trapped. Let's put it that way. But it's these guys that actually caused the trap. It's these buyers buying at the very high. And where did they buy into? The POC, right? The pink. And then the longer term POC as well held. So now they're coming back up at it. But look, there's as they drop down, all the volume was right here. Did they get a green bar? No. So all the volume on this is right here. Whoops. Oh fuck, I didn't mean to do that. All the volume is right where we are right now. So sellers need to defend this blue dot. Otherwise, it's not bearish. There's no buy there. There's no signal. It's just choppy. And that shouldn't be a surprise because we're right at the POC. The 3-day POC. And I mean, yesterday's regular trading hour POC and the 24-hour POC, like that's also important. But I actually find the 3-day POC when it comes to like where you're going to get a potential rejection when you lose a level. Like the POC from yesterday is usually really choppy. Sometimes if you gap away from it and come back to it, it will act as support or resistance. But what I find with the 3-day running POC, like whatever that is, 36-hour POC, is that it's usually choppy still. Signals don't always work out if you enter right on it or near it. But once they develop volume above it or below it, and you get aggressive buyers or sellers below it, buyers above it, you actually can get trades to set up really well. I can go show you some examples of that if we're not gonna go anywhere here. But the blue dots you'll see, basically the first time we enter it, there's gonna be choppiness, and then as we move away from it and come back to it, the trades that set up like here are usually pretty solid because we've tested above it, rejected, gotten below it, came back. If they reject off of it, that trade will usually be good. We'll see. First it has to set up. I'm not just going to guess that it's going to roll over here. The location makes sense, but there's no reason to guess when you have an objective way to get in and out. And I do. So I just wait for the signal to tell me what to do or when to do it. And then I decide whether or not I like the level. And that gets me to determine how aggressive it is. Because I'm just not that aggressive of a trader. And the more I make in the day, the less aggressive I'm actually going to get. Especially if I've been making good decisions and getting paid for it. Like it doesn't make sense to give that back on an aggressive trade. If things are really rolling, I'll be aggressive even though I'm making good money. But like, if it's like this, where like the day started really volatile and I was on the right side of things like repeatedly, and then it kind of seems to be shifting, I'm not going to aggressively go with the market, because it'd have to be so that's probably a decent short here. That's probably a decent short. Have we gotten under the, yeah, that's valid. In fact, I should probably take that. That is valid. It's got a lot of volume on it, so we might trade into it again. If we come back up into it, I will take it there with a stop up here somewhere. I'd prefer to trade into there again though. I'd like to get a cheaper entry, but let's see if we can get a, yeah, here we go. Let's see if we can spike up. They might not give it to me. Spike it. I might miss it, you guys. That might have been it. I wanted to test this VPOC. It technically is a valid short. It's just the problem is risk reward here. That's why I'm waiting. Is like if you short it here, your stop has to be up here, and there's a pivot right here. So it's like it's a short, but you have to think that this one could be easily taken out and we could go a lot lower, and I'm just not confident about that because we've slowed down significantly and there's trapped sellers down there. So I will take it if I can get like a less than 10-point risk. I will definitely take it. But what I'd like to see is them to spike it up and then reverse it. So let's see. Now, if they print a star here, we're just going to chop and we'll go review trades or something. Like, star up here would invalidate the trade, basically. That's a lot. Yeah, that might have been it. Whoops. That might have been it. Fuck. That might have been it. Look how close that was. Damn. Missed it by like a point. Ugh. That hurts. You bastards. I wanted this. I wanted to see this hit and then see it reject. And I didn't. It got within like a couple points of it. I might as well have just shorted it. And now I kind of don't want to do it because it's like, well, now if it comes back up there and it breaks it, now do I really want to be short? Like this should be the turn. It just didn't fill me. Because I could have gotten in short there, and then if it prints a star, get out for like a 3-point loss. NQ, right? Like $60 to like potentially get a 10-point risk. Like even if it works, it's only a 10-point risk. Even if I get it to roll over, I'm saying. But if it doesn't immediately roll over, you just boom out of the trade. 3 points, 4 points out. So that was a failed execution on my side. I mean, that was valid. I just did not click the button fast enough. I got a little spooked by the speed that they were coming back at it, and I'm like, oh, this might be a star. Maybe I should wait. But what I should have done the first time is taken the short, and then that way. When it does just roll over, you can take advantage of it, and when it doesn't, you can just exit. Because the risk is so low. Now the problem is now once they've tried to roll it over and they come back at it, the second time it's just not as good. Like if this was really bearish, they would have rejected on that would have been it. So like you shouldn't see the high here break. You could literally put your stop right there. Because that high should not break. It's probably just going to chop around in here. It's probably not an amazing short, but I've seen these work. I had the read. I believe I had the read right. Yeah. It's done. Fuck. Well, that's irritating. Like I said, it's all right. I mean, the edge is there. I was right. It's just it literally missed it, you guys, by like ticks. See that? I was just being a dick for a tick. Look at how close that was. And I just wasn't willing to push the button until I got that touch. I wanted to see it tested, and I was just being a little bit OCD about it. And they just they spiked it up so quick that I was like, oh, they're probably gonna close this bullish, and then they just like rug pull. So by the time I could have hit the button, if I would have longed with a market order, I would have gotten slipped. Oh, interesting. They put in another volume candle down here with an aggressive buyer. They're actually trying to okay. It's probably balancing. If I would have taken that short, I'd just get out here. By the way, if you took that short, like just exit, because they're defending this level down here, despite the fact. See, look back here. We had it marked off, right here. They are trying to defend this, which makes sense. They need to. Buyers need to defend it. See that? Look at this. There's no green line there, but that green outline candle, this bar here. See how it was tested under with a purple bar, but then they rejected it right there. That's where this momentum shift came. Like that's how we got this big capitulation. What was probably capitulation. This move here. That like impulse move. That's the word I was looking for. Came because of that trap below. Whoops. Below the too many fucking things. Hold on. Below the green outline bar. This bar here, it's not a buy entry, but when you trade behind it with a purple bar and you come back with a strong signal, it's often a sign we're going higher in a bull market. They basically just did it again. Got underneath it. See that? Like just by a couple ticks. That's the line right there of the low. They came back with another aggressive buyer with volume. They're basically saying, like, we're not scared of sellers. We're just going to keep buying at them. So if you're short, you don't hold it when they raise, right? Like, when I short this, it's aggressive, right? Like you're aggressively attacking a 50% retrace, if that, of this move here. That's all that is, right? It's just retracement, aggressive seller, pullback, give me 10-point risk, give me 10 points to 15 points of downside, like pay me for 10 to 15 points of downside move and hold a runner. But when they aggressively defend below that level that we identified that they needed to hold, like sellers got underneath it again and they bought it anyway. See that? Look at those. They bought it anyway. And they bought it aggressively with volume. That's what those signals are telling me. And notice that this one's also got an outline of green, which means technically now they may have trapped shorts down here. And we can see it on the footprint. Again, if you want to see what that looks like, this is what it looks like on the footprint. See that? So if you know how to read the footprint and you're quick at making decisions, the buy is clearly when those guys get stuck, right? The algo is telling me sellers are probably stuck at the bottom of this bar. So if it's bullish, this is where you get in, right? The problem is that buyers are trapped up here. And the reason why I said we're probably going to get balance is because these guys that were aggressively trying to trap shorts got stuck. See that? So they act at their levels, their entries act as resistance. And it's really, you need a lot of momentum to push through that. So what you end up getting is chop. And that's why I said, as soon as I saw, what was it? This and this, the stars going in opposite directions in the same zone, I said, we're probably chopping and bouncing. Let me go grab a little more coffee, you guys. I'll be right back, all right? I shall return. Let me know if this has been helpful or if there's anything else you guys have questions about. You can always put it in the chat. Give me a minute. Hope you dig the tunes. It's my SoundCloud. If people want to find me, just look up Red Ben on SoundCloud. I am a like what's it called? Definitely not a professional guitarist, but a tourist at best, right? But I do enjoy making some music every once in a while. Microphone back on. If you guys can like let me know what you'd like to see. I do believe that we're gonna chop here. I don't think we're gonna get a great trade entry. If you wanna, I did promise that I would go back and look over the actual entries, and I'd be happy to do that if you want. But you can see that we've traded right into this level, and we're inside of this pivot at the previous day's value area low. Like we might get a short still, but really the best short was way up here above the channel. It's probably going to chop around here for a bit. I don't think the trading here is going to be great. So it may make sense to go into like a review mode. But if you guys are more interested in live like calls and you don't mind waiting, or if you have questions about the algo or questions about the room or questions about anything, I don't care, like ask whatever you want. This is a good time to do that, because there's not going to be, if I had to guess, I'm not going to take any trades as long as we stay in this zone. That's what I'm trying to say. This we have to trade out of this area here before I'm going to be confident that we're going in one direction or another. Right now it's just like you could sell a trap up here or buy one down here and exit at the midpoint. That's your trade. It's no more complicated than that. But yeah, if people want to, if there's something you guys want to see or talk about or whatever, let me know. I'm going to pack a vape and chill, but you guys tell me if you want to see something, holler. We can look at ES, we can do whatever you want. But I don't think they're going to set up. I don't think I'm going to take setups here until they leave that area. Your best case scenario is the trap trade here, trading underneath the green line and then coming back with in the other direction, that like within one bar. That's what you want. It would have to happen right here, basically. No more than one close below. Let's see. Do they close it below and then come back? I would prefer it just to be a wick. But if they keep trading back and forth in this area, it's just gonna get choppy, and the risk reward gets lower and lower. So yeah, see that they need to save it on this bar. If this bar is bearish, there's no trade. Best case scenario here is a green inside the bar, or else a star going up. Other than that, there's just nothing to do. I don't trade breakdowns or breakouts, so that's not an option. I'm certainly not seeing any evidence that like we're trending one direction or the other. If anything, the fact that the higher time frame and the shorter time frame don't match is a sign that we're probably just going to stay in this area. So yeah, but if they do print a star here, the pink bar isn't enough, but a star or a green bar, it's technically a long. It's just the risk reward is iffy. So, and the fact that we've traveled so far since the low makes it like less likely to really pay out very big. And as I've said before, I'm not willing to give up what were really good decisions early on in the day on aggressive trades in the afternoon. in my experience, it does not lead to very good results. Doesn't mean you can't trade in the afternoon. It's just when the morning trading is good, there's a good chance that the afternoon trading is going to be not so great. I wish the opposite was true, but it's not. If the morning trading sucks, the afternoon trading actually can suck too. Not always, but yeah. Sometimes it just means we're not gonna do anything, you know. So it does not look like they're gonna set up long here. Yeah, below the channel. The bell is to let me know, like, hey, we're trading lower than you'd expect if you're in balance. You might want to look for a mean reversion trade, but if they trade here, that's all over, and that makes this short that I should have taken right there. Yeah, so there we go, no long. So the short that I wanted was here. Oh, and I went to get coffee. They set up again. Fuck. That. How did I miss that? How did I miss this? that was a valid setup. I don't know how I missed that one. Sorry. That must have been where I was going. Did this happen really fast? It didn't. I guess we were just distracted. This is the one I thought I was going to take and I didn't. I came back up. I don't know why I wouldn't have shorted this on a pullback. Not sure. Maybe I just said that it was too choppy. That's right. I remember now. I said it looked too choppy. It looked like it was balancing, so I wasn't going to be aggressive. Okay, that makes sense. There's a setup. But see how far it is from the last pivot? Like, it's really risky. Like, all the momentum's to the downside. You really want to see like this get taken back. This zone right here needs to be, it could happen right here, but usually it doesn't happen right away. Once they trade under that pivot, it's usually bearish, and the midpoint's going to be resistance generally. But we did get this arrow on a green bar, and you can see when we get the arrow on the orange bar, which is the exact inverse, we got, and it's outside of the channel, you do get an immediate drop, and so here you could get an immediate lift. But the difference is here we had capitulation before that. See how this big move out? I don't see this as capitulation. This looks like momentum's increasing to the downside, whereas here you can see that the pink background like stayed there and was on for many bars. Here is like trying to get bearish, pulling back, winding up, trying to get bearish. They are still being bearish even though there's no like momentum shift. And then they go a little bit lower. And so what does that mean? That means this guy usually gets tested. So if you wanted to know where the best place to get short, it's here. A diamond down here is a pretty strong move. Yeah, star down. Okay, it's okay. They're probably balancing, you guys. I'm not thrilled about shorting this. I don't know how many times it's going to take before they actually like pull off a little mini bounce, but I'd be surprised if they actually accelerate lower. I don't think it's going to happen in one move, is all I'm saying. I think it's going to eventually reoffer, and there'll be a better short higher up. I would not be selling breakdowns. There's just not enough momentum. You can see that this one didn't technically stop yet, but I'm pretty sure it will. So like just because it's a green bar followed by a purple bar does not mean it's always going to work. In this case, you had to identify that we've shifted from bullish to more of a bearish momentum. So the bullish momentum has dried up, and we've traded clearly underneath a bar that we knew needed to hold, and they didn't really defend it. So once this happened, I knew I wasn't interested in longs. And the hard part is you have to train yourself to be ready to take those setups when it is bullish, but then have enough discipline not to take it when you have evidence that it's not bullish. And so that is tricky. The algo knows what's going on the footprint in the now, and it's watching the time and sales and the DOM like in the now. It doesn't. It's not thinking about the fact that we've already rejected off of a important level and made like lower highs. It's the algo is not that sophisticated. Oh, there you go. Now that's a long, but again, I'm not going to take it. It does look like balance, and I like this one better than this one. But it's, I don't think we're going to get higher than this. So I'm not going to take it. Technically valid though. Oh, and they couldn't get a VPOC below the voodoo range level without making it a strong aggressive buy bar. This probably works for 10 points. I wonder if it's worth a scalp if they pull back. It probably won't pull back if it's going to work. Or like if you could get 1-to-1 on this, like a 10-point risk and grab 10 points, I think that's actually worth it. But I just don't think it's going to go much higher than like 70. It does look like they're trying though. And I may be being a little bit overly cautious here by not taking that, because that's a pretty good trade. We're trying to trap this guy. So if we can get up here, then we'll know what's up. My guess is they'll defend him, but I don't know. If you were going to take a long, that's it. I didn't have the courage to fight. Oh, let me turn that off. It's noisy. Hold on. Like, it's not super high odds, but it's the best long I've seen since this one. Best long I've seen since then. Better than this one. For those who have been watching this for a while, something I will do often is watch more than one time frame. And what you still want to wait for your entries to be on the time frame that you're trading. So you don't just want to like enter because you get green bars and stars here. But when you get confirmation, like when you get a star here and then a star here, it can help quite a bit. It can also show you where resistance is if you aren't sure. Because on the smaller time frame will give you the hints, and the higher time frame will like confirm those hints. So like I can watch for signs that this low is getting defended, for instance, or that they're not able to get any momentum going. And then I could also look back and say, well, they did trade under a green outline bar with a lot of volume, and now we're coming back up and we're trying to trade into his level. It makes sense that bears would defend this. And this is where buying this gets tough. Like what I said is I thought it's probably good for a scalp, but I don't think it can go higher than this right away. So I would actually have exited my trade already. I'd be out right at the midpoint here. I'd want to be out right when that touches. Just mark it out, finished. Like 10,970 is great. And I didn't feel like that was worth the risk, which is down here. So it would be enter here, short or stop down here, and your target would be here. It is 1-to-1 or so, maybe a little bit less, but it is technically 1-to-1, I think. It probably does work more than 50% of the time. So I do think it's it's totally fine to do it. I just didn't have the confidence that it was going to work often enough, and I didn't want to give away a stop on something slightly more aggressive than I'd prefer. If I thought there was any chance that we were going to go like 100 points up straight, like if we had like the order flow that we had earlier today, I would be banging it, you know, but I don't see that. Like they're not, the bulls have just like left the arena. Like there is, there's no follow through on any of the moves. Yeah, it's done. So that, like, it's not a short though. Fuck, not quite. Where's the volume here again? Way up high? No, at the bottom. Interesting. I traded above it already. That's a very aggressive short. 3-bar combo. Pink bar, no algo, star. Very aggressive. I'd be very surprised if they just rolled down, but they might. It's really unlikely to work because there's a star down here. They tried to trap them and rejected. Usually these guys will buy. Anybody who was short here and feeling all that heat will buy back in and cause this to be really choppy. So I don't love buying this or selling it. I mean, but I'd have a really hard time holding the long too. It's just a hard place to trade. It's just not an easy decision point. It's going to be choppy. See, it's not going fast enough for the shorts to get any momentum going. I haven't been looking at Twitter to see if there's any news or anything. Isn't there a Fed speaker right now? Yeah. I don't see it, but thought there was a Fed speaker. Maybe about to start then. Let me check. Tuesday the 11th. Meister at noon. Oh, okay, so he's probably done. Mester is probably done. Him or her? I forget which one's a woman. There's a couple women in there. Mester, whichever one is Mester, was speaking. I believe they're done. 35 minutes. Bank of England Governor Bailey speaks. That is post-London close, but still could be relevant. Oh, Europe has GDP. England has GDP tonight. That, and then of course PPI in the regular trading hours tomorrow, as well as the minutes, FOMC minutes. So, and then CPI the next day. Fun. I do kind of wish that they would like stop talking. I get that we need the releases and stuff, but like, do they really need to like campaign for their, like, all they're doing is just, I don't know. I just kind of wish that the Fed guys would stop talking. Yeah, so see, this is the chop I'm talking about that I really don't want to participate in. I don't like this when I see star after star after star getting no continuation. See that? Nothing. That's not the kind of trading I want. I want these stars to create resistance. I don't want them to create a trade zone. That's not good trading. That is poor price action. You can technically go to the smaller time frame, but then you see what happens is you take the short, you get stopped out, and they roll it down. It doesn't really solve the problem. You just have to recognize the opportunity is just not as good here. as it was earlier. Oh, that's interesting. Shifting volume up, but they're much higher than they belong. You want another one of these green bars down here. That's not really where you want that. It's just choppy. It's just not very good order flow. Very, very difficult trading. Like they push it just hard enough to get everybody interested, and then they'll probably shift it back down again. Once you watch this for long enough, you realize, like, yeah, that like even though purple bar, green bar like this is usually a sign that it's time to get long, if it's bullish. When you get it in these situations where there's momentum to the downside, they often go lower first. And when you get it back at the, see how it's like we came back to the same area, and they tried to sell it and they shifted volume up again, right? But it's in this here, it's in the same zone as this. See that? So what they're basically saying is that this has to be new support now for this to work. This has to be new support. And in other words, this needs to be like excess and trap sellers. It doesn't have to like be wrong, but it doesn't look like it to me. There is a voodoo range level here, so it might be, but that's the narrative that buyers are saying right here is this low was excess, and we're gonna make higher lows here and trend higher. If you believe that, then it's a good place to buy. I think this looks like balance at best. I don't think that, even though we have a potential trap seller here, there were no big sellers down here. This is where the sellers were. We've just now, if you look, if you draw a line here, you have to get volume to shift above that. The VPOC on this is not there. So they can just test up here, roll over. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's what I would expect. We'll see. Could be wrong. They might have trapped shorts from before, and yeah, it could just go. But usually you get like pink bar, star to the downside, rollover. We'll see. Reasons to be bullish are that we've got this move here that's now been re-auctioned. See that? Where is the VPOC for that? Hold on. At the high? Well, this is the one we can't find. I don't know where it is. Is it? Oh, is it right under this? God, I don't know where it is. There should be a pink line there, and I can't see it because there's like another. Oh, it's this one right here. That's why we can't see it, because it's the opening range low. Oh, interesting. I didn't see that. Opening range low is where this pivot was. Maybe that is pretty bullish then. I missed that. On the way up, on the poorly auctioned impulse move, the POC was at the opening range low of the hour, the first hour of trading. We traded slightly underneath it and came back with an aggressive buyer. That makes this much better. I was not prepared for that. My bad. I was not looking at that. Here, I'll show you to you on the... So, what I'm talking about. Sorry, opening range high, not low, high. So here's the opening, right? This was the opening range high. We got above it, developed volume above it, came back, tested just below it, see that? And tried to bounce off of it. If it's trend day up, that works. So if you're gonna look for an aggressive place to buy, it actually does make sense to buy this because it tested that high volume area, or high volume, area that is also the opening range high. That does make sense. Oh, but we did get this pattern though. 3-bar combo to the short side, right at the top of the channel. If shorts aren't trapped, they're gonna crush it here. They're gonna roll it over. If they are trapped, they won't be able to. Still looks like balance to me. They're not immediately taking that high. But this turned out to be more than a scalp if you identified that this low was important. I did not. And that makes this a little bit better for a scalp as well. But chances are this does get re-auctioned. We probably do come back here. Did we establish volume above this purple bar? Yep, we did. The VPOC is above that purple bar, and that's the first of the series. It is not. Never mind. This one is the one that matters. Yeah, we're good. It's not ultra bullish. As long as they keep rejecting that, it's not ultra bullish. It's balanced. Because when they shifted volume to the downside, that trapped buyers at the highs, and those trapped buyers are acting as sellers now in that same area. So that's not bullish. It's not necessarily big time to sell aggressively, but if you're expecting lower, you're probably not going to get a better entry than that orange bar. Hi, kitty. Okay, back. See how we traded just slightly underneath this green bar, but not underneath this pivot. So it's not an entry for me. But what we can do is see where the volume is. Yeah, we got underneath it. Only with purple bars, though. They need to save this right here. Bulls, I mean. Oh, they took a lot of volume to do that. That's not good for bulls. This is getting really choppy, you guys. This is tough trading. I realize that the signals are working, but like it's the likelihood that we get an expanded range here is decreasing. The order flow just is kind of not great. Unless what you're looking for is 10-point scalps, then it's fine. If we trade up into this orange bar and roll over that range here, that's actually a pretty good short. Like you could just trade this range basically. Short up here, long down here till it stops working. I prefer the short side though, personally. This looks like they're just going to chop around in this area for a while. They're probably done for the day. They might do something at the last hour, but if I had to guess, like I said before, the better trading is probably done. It's just hard to imagine a situation where you have a momentum shift right here. Okay, back into the range. Let's see if they set up short. Pink bar, orange bar would be best. Pink bar, stars, okay. I really do want another pink bar, though, please. Trading above that red line just slightly would be perfect. Are they just gonna do star down? That would suck. Yeah, purple bar down would be worse. Worse as in like not good order flow, no expectations. So buyers are just giving up here, but like there's no aggressive sellers apparently. Oh, there's one. Yeah. Looks like we're gonna have to close bearish for that arrow to show up. That's a star. Yeah, that's probably good to go. The risk reward is so horrible though. Like, what's the chances that we actually break through this? I don't know. You know, it looks choppy as fuck. You can put your stop up there, but like I don't know if we even break this. It's just the risk reward just not good. There's not enough momentum to take these lower highs. Short, in my opinion. So many of the time you're going to get 10 points and not 50. So I mean, if that's, and then I don't know. Yeah, it's valid. It's just, is it really worth it? Like, this is where you want to put like your money on the line? Like when we're chopping inside of this tiny little range near yesterday's volume area low and yesterday's close, like, why? But if I had to guess whether or not we're going to get 10 points to the downside after that star with the arrow, I'd say we probably will. But we're essentially trading right into a support, so it's like, like why even participate when it's this choppy, you know? Unless you're going to trade the edges, that's fine. Trade the edges. This is far from an edge. It does pay 10 points. I mean, that's 3 times in a row where the algo is technically right. Oh, 4 times in a row. The algo is technically right, but I'm like not aggressive enough to follow it, just because I don't see the opportunity. And I was right that like the opportunity for like a big move is low, but the algo is basically saying the likelihood that we get a 10-point move to the downside is better than the 15-point move to the upside, and so it is right almost 70% of the time. Like I could just take all those aggressive signals and be up $1,000, you know, like but you'd have to be really disciplined about exiting at like 10 to 15 points every single time and accept that sometimes you're going to miss the 100-point move. If you're going to take all those aggressive trades, you can't hold runners on all of them. You'll lose money. You'll give back too much, and then when it stops, if you make a mistake or if you run into like a little drawdown where you start taking full stops like 3 times in a row, like you'll give back. Like you need a lot of those scalps to pay for the misses, right? The ones that miss, you need like 2 good trades to pay for 1 bad one. So yeah, I want to be able to hold runners with confidence. Otherwise, I'll just skip the trade. But part of that is because I'm trading a trailing drawdown account. And it makes, yeah, I guess in some ways that almost makes the scalping better. Like getting 10 points in those, you can trade them with bigger size than I normally would. And just getting 10 points is a couple of those trades is a pretty good day. So I guess that's the other side of that argument. But when I'm at the high watermark of the day for the Apex funding, I'm not gonna aggressively scalp. I'm happy to call them though for those who want to. And that was a scalp short, and this was a scalp long. This was a scalp short. This was a scalp long. And this was actually a pretty good trade long that I just didn't really trust, but I did say it was valid. I just didn't see the location. Again, they're trying to put a green bar. They're trying to develop. Buyers are trying to develop volume higher and higher, and it's just not getting anywhere. We're not getting any payoff for the volume shifts higher, and eventually that's going to cause problems. Right now, it's just causing it to pause. But you can't keep printing these green bars and not getting continuation. Eventually, you're going to start taking them out. So if this is a green bar and they immediately take it out, it's probably bearish. What I think is probably going to happen, they print a green bar, they trade up here, and then the sellers come in there. If I had to just, and that's just a guess. There's the green bar. What I'm guessing is we're going to get a little bit of an extension. They'll trap back in and roll it over. Otherwise, they just won't let it go anywhere and they'll just rip it down. I'm not that bearish. I don't see why bears wouldn't sell this. So, unless they're really trapped at the lows. And maybe they are, but technically a valid scalp back up to the upside, but I don't know. How badly do I need 10 points? It's technically a scalp though, totally valid on the green bar, especially on that pullback into the range. Like, that works a lot. Best case scenario, trade up to like 1100 and then roll over. Best case scenario for like the trading day getting better opportunities. What's probably going to happen, they just reject. Or just keep getting stuck in this area and give me nothing to do. Reasons not to take this green bar: your risk reward is poor. You have a active seller waiting to get filled up here, and you can see that he's defending that level. And you're trading in a tight range between support and resistance, and you're getting in above the midpoint of that. It's just super aggressive. You have to be really bullish to take that trade, in my opinion. It's probably the most aggressive long we've seen in this video. Is it technically valid? Yes, as long as you think it's bullish. Like, you'll see that work when it's bullish, but you'll see it fail probably 50% of the time. Because it's so high in the channel. You want those green bars to be down here during balance. Like, even this one was a little on the high side, closing above the midpoint. It did produce the move to the opposite side of the channel, but if you think about it, the move to the opposite side of the channel here is like less than the stop you'd have to take, which is putting your stop loss below this level, and you're putting your stop loss right where you'd want to buy if they curl back up again and print another green bar. And usually, if you're putting your stop loss where you want to enter, something's wrong. Usually. The only time when that's not true is when it's like screaming in one direction with a lot of momentum. And it's not going anywhere. So for me, it's an easy skip, but does it work more often than it doesn't? Yes. It probably works maybe 55% of the time, right? Slightly more often than it doesn't. And when I say works, I mean gets to the blue line, right? It's just a scalp. Sometimes it goes further than that when it's bullish. But if I was trading it, I would take all my profits at the blue line, and I'd just wait for the next entry, because it's just too... If I'm aggressively entering, I need to aggressively exit. And all it takes is a little, like... experience to see that that's a pretty good strategy or tactic, I guess. The pink bars going up suggest that sellers just kind of giving up in the zone. They'll probably come back once we trade a little higher. Probably. Once again, it does look like it's going to hit its 10-point target, though. First profit-taking target. It got awfully close already. Entry would have been somewhere under 74. Very close. 8 points. It's just too choppy for me to take it, though. It's, again, likelihood that you get 10 points, probably 55%. Likelihood that you get 50 points, like 10%. So, not good enough for me. It's probably just going to get stuck in this zone over and over and over again. And then eventually it will either trade up here and then roll over, or trade down here and then bounce. That's usually how we resolve these. And between the two of those, I think actually trading lower and then bouncing is more likely, to be completely honest. They might have to trade higher to go lower, though. They might have to go up here to get down here to bounce higher. Like, that is exactly what NQ loves to do. Get all the shorts, get all the longs, all the shorts out, then sweep all the longs out, and then go higher. But the good news about that is that once we're out of this range and we start expanding the range, the trading gets way better. So it means there's a chance, if we can just exit this little chop zone here between these two rectangles, which again we identified based on these background colors. That's a new system I'm using that I really like. Yeah, once you get out of here, order flow will improve. Inside here, like, everyone's basically like agreed that price doesn't belong here, but no one wants to be the one who aggressively pushes it out. So, and I'm certainly not going to be that guy. Okay, now did it hit his 10 points? If I would have been aggressive, I would have been getting in right away. 74, let's say. Yep, hit 10 points. So I'd be out of half of my position. I'd be getting out of the next half at probably 15 points. The blue line here, more or less. And I'd just get out because it's just super aggressive. But your stop would have had to go all the way down here. That's a pretty big stop, considering that you're only expecting 20 points at the best, you know? So I just skipped it. It's like an 18-point stop. You know. And then, like I said, you're stopping out here, and what you really want, if you want to be long, is for the market to trade down there and come back up and get you long at like 60. So why do that? I don't know. That's not my style. But it's funny because there's people in the trading perform room, including my coach, that like they make their living on this. And I'm learning to get more aggressive with it, right? And I see that it works. I know it works. But it's hard. It is tough. It's harder than it looks. Yeah, and that just rejects. Again, really aggressive short, technically valid, horrible risk reward. Technically valid. I don't like seeing these arrows during a chop zone. It means that there's basically big sellers sitting up here. And yeah, I want to see that. So when I want to see those, when I say I want to, like when the trading's good, you see them on the extensions like this. That's when things are going to, that's when big trades come, and you'll see it at the top too. See how it's like extension, 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 arrow? That's when they're good. When it's like chop, 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 arrow, arrow, like what that's basically telling me is just stop trading because it's going to be really hard to break through them, but they have nowhere to go, and so they're probably going to end up getting trapped. It's probably coming back up. This is potentially the first good trade here, if they freaking do it. We've finally gotten out of that chop zone. Let's see if they defend it. They may not. It might just roll, in which case we miss it. Wouldn't be the first time. Right back to that voodoo range level, right back to the opening range high. They should defend it. I don't know if they will. If it just rolled down, like, well, that's the way it goes. This was technically a trap entry. I just didn't like the risk reward. See how it traded above a red line and then came back down and it's red and it's got all the algo signals. Technically, it's valid. What I didn't like about it is that you'd have to put your stop. It's the exact same problem as the long. You have to put your stop way up here. Your entry is way down here. Right? I'd like 68. Again, 17, 18 points. So, like, what are the chances I'm going to get 20 on that? I mean, I realize it did, but how often does that happen? And now it says get long again. This is actually the first one I like. Should we just do it? Because we haven't taken any trades here. I'm tempted just to take this trade because I haven't done anything. Just kind of a sad reason to do it, but I'm doing it. So I took the long. I don't know if it's good. I can't hold past 45. If it doesn't work, it's bearish. Right? But if this is the first time where I'm actually getting a trade in the location that I like, I just don't know if it's going to hold. I have no evidence that this is going to go at all. It's a valid scalp with decent risk reward. I have no evidence that this is vulnerable. And it may just roll over, and that's fine. It's just frustrating that you see it scalp back and forth and hit, and then if I get into this one and then this one is the one that stops, it's kind of irritating, but that's just the way it goes. One of them eventually is going to stop. We know that. Because they do only work like 55 to 70% of the time, so eventually they stop. It looks like they're going to get me.
Cancel.
All right, they stopped me. That's irritating. Makes sense, but it's a little irritating. Because this level was repeatedly defended, and so I thought this was the first chance where we might actually get back to this level, but it looks like we just ran into some sellers, so it's okay. But like, see how if I would have traded all this, the aggressive trades, that stop doesn't hurt as bad. You know, being wrong once doesn't matter as much. If you've been aggressive and taking 10 points all through here, I'd be up like 40 points still. But by missing all of these aggressive trades and then taking this one because I thought the risk reward was better, you end up just like doing nothing here and then losing 18 points. So it's like, yeah, that's the problem with the conservative strategy is that the stops I do take like kind of hurt more because I miss out on all those aggressive trades. But like I said, I thought there was a decent chance that this was the move that is going to get that going. The signal's good enough at that level. That's exactly what they needed to do to save it. They just didn't do it. So was it aggressive? Yeah, but the location was good. So, but the one learning opportunity here is that this is a better entry to be willing to take if you've gotten wins in here. And we did develop volume below this pivot with this bar. So maybe that makes this less likely to actually extend. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Should have though. Now that I think about it, that VPOC down there makes that a worse entry along. Interesting. Okay. This is the first sign of aggression to the short side that we've really seen other than this. And this one was hard to take because it was so choppy here. But that diamond coming after that star, and especially when the outline is green, is a sign that sellers are finally starting to defend this. We had the hint to it with the arrows, but like I said, in my experience, when it gets choppy like this, you get these arrows even when they're not going to immediately shove it down. So I don't really know how to interpret that. There, it's a new it's a new sign. Oh wow, that's another valid long. I'm not. Fuck. I wonder if I have to take that since I took the other one. I don't know what to do about that. That kind of sucks. Like part of me sort of feels like I have to take that since I was willing to take the other one. And this is, it's not a trap back in, but it is a volume shift. I don't know. The risk reward still isn't great, but this one was closer to the midpoint. That's what rejected. So here, if you think you can get to the midpoint, it might actually make sense to take that. Ugh, that's tough. If this runs, I might need a little break because I probably should have taken that. If I took this one, this is technically a little bit better. It's still a 3-bar combo. It's not super conservative, but the location is still right. So if you think this is still balanced, then this is the place you want to be getting long, really. The problem is you're trading into a third wave down. Where's the current volume? Oh, yeah. See, we have not hit the current VPOC yet. It's probably okay to skip that. I'll be right back, you guys. I'm going to run to the bathroom and refill this drink one more time. Give me 3 minutes. I will come right back. Yeah, then we'll take a look at this, make sure I didn't make a mistake there. I'll be right back. All right. Once again, bears show up and drill that volume shift. So high volume shifts to the upside, speed trap star. Bears are really trying hard here. Like there's actually some like signs of momentum to the downside now. Look at this volume wave. And we can't seem to break over this VPOC of the 30 minutes. The 30-minute VPOC is like unbreakable. See, even though it's there, we're getting rejection off it repeatedly. So even a star here would be hard to. Technically, a star would be an entry though, but hard to do it. Star up would technically be an entry. Green bar would technically be an entry. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is all right because like when it's not going lower, this is exactly how you get the reversal. Maybe I should just go ahead and take it. Well, it's got to signal first. But breaking out of those green bars is usually a sign that there are buyers trapped up there. It's just that an inability to push the market lower is also generally a sign of balance. And I think this area being balanced makes sense. They're going to have to close above that VPOC. But that will happen right here, and it will be another green bar, it looks like, I think. So you could technically enter at like 38.25 if they hit it, since that's above that VPOC. But they're probably going to reject it, right? But if they did get it, it's probably a valid long. Momentum looks really heavy, so I doubt they will achieve 38 before 1975. But if they do, it's probably a long. But it probably won't trigger. But there's no power bar here. Fuck, that sucks. I guess it's not a long. I think I'm just seeing things. I think it's bearish, and we shouldn't touch it. There's no power bar there. It's not a long. It's not a trap. It's not valid. You have to wait. It needs one of those little flags on the lows for it to be a trap back in, and so it's technically not valid. Even if it does close with a green bar here, it's just more like aggressive buyers showing up despite like in the face of selling aggression, and that's usually not a great idea to follow that. I mean, sometimes you'll get the low, but it's pretty. Oftentimes you won't. Like, I want to see them develop volume above that VPOC, and then if they pull back into this level, I will long it. But I don't want to be the first one, really, who fights this aggression. Like I said, I was willing to take a shot to see if we were going to immediately reject, but now that we've traded lower, it's really hard to buy this, assuming that we're like still in some sort of uptrend for the day. What it looks like to me is that they're trying to push it back, and eventually it'll probably just chop around. But like, you're kind of guessing, if you buy it here, you're sort of guessing that this is the last time they're going to pull back. And I would need some more evidence that this was it. Would it be valid though? I think it's technically a long. Should we? It's tough. I honestly just hope it doesn't trigger, because if it does turn green and it closes bullish here, I think it is valid, but I've seen this fail so often that it's hard for me to do it. Maybe I should do it though. Okay. Let's see if we get a good deal on it. Let's think about it that way. If they pull it back here and they give you a good deal on it, maybe it's worth it. If the risk is low, it might be worth it. Because I think it is valid. It's just there's momentum to the downside, so you're trying to like catch the higher low, you know, you're trying to guess that this is it. So I don't really want to take like an 18-point stop again, guessing that this is gonna reject. Because when it's bearish, the algo doesn't know that. It's still gonna trigger that there's aggressive buyers here. It's up to me to identify that like the likelihood of that working is lower. And these are the exact situations where these stop working. So is when the momentum's actually increasing to the downside. Tough. I really want a cheap shot if I'm going to buy this. I don't want to pay 18 points. Like, I would probably take it if I could get 10, but they need to get down to like 30 for me to do it. I realize it probably works, but I'm just questioning whether or not we're going to get a straight shot to the upside. But it's valid. Fuck. Probably should have taken it. Probably should have just taken it. We got a tiny little pullback into the bottom of the channel, and that was probably the opportunity to get a tiny bit of a, like, I could have taken it for 15 points. I only wanted to take 10 because I don't know if I've got any more than 10 to the upside here. I think 50 is going to be resistance. I really do. It wouldn't have hit my target yet. It would have gotten damn close, but it wouldn't have hit it. So I'd be sweating if I was long. Let's put it that way. It probably works for 10 to 15 points, but yeah, I wanted better than 1-to-1, and I don't think I had it. It is valid though. And like I said, the fact that I bought this one makes me feel like I sort of have to buy these. But there's no power bar here, so it's not a trap back in. It's you're just playing off this volume shift, and the fact that this one failed and yet they came right back at it. So but I don't think we get higher than 50. Okay, it did hit the target. Just poor instincts. I'm skipping the trades that are working for 10 points, and then I'm taking the ones that aren't. And that's the risk of being picky. Man, that's frustrating. Like, out of all of these, like, 1 or maybe 2 didn't hit target, and all the rest of them did, and I took the 1 that didn't and passed on all the rest of them. I'll have to think on that. Just didn't want to pay the price to see it, you know? But really, all I needed to do is get to 50, and that's a decent trade right there. Take 2 minis, and that's like $700. Ugh. Now sellers are just giving up. That's frustrating. So they're back up to that previous support. It's acting as resistance. I'd probably be out of the trade right now. I'm just happy to get that scalp. If they reject this voodoo range level, it's probably taking them low. Like, buyers really can't quit here. I mean, they will, but they shouldn't. If it's bullish, they don't quit here. If they do quit here, it's not bullish. It's a decision point. But that'd be enough to get me out of the trade. I don't need the 30 to 50 points. I just need 15. Man, sucks. Just bad choices. If this had a power bar on it, I would have taken it. But we went below the last pivot, and they rejected. We got the setup, and I did see that this should be the target. I had that right. I just couldn't pull the trigger even on this little pullback. I wanted it back here, and it just didn't make it to it. I knew it was good. I just didn't want to pay for it. I didn't want to pay the stop for the times it didn't work, and obviously sometimes it doesn't. Because it's tough. This is the exact same setup, and it just didn't do anything. But the difference here is that it's underneath the channel, so your risk reward by definition is better. And it makes it less aggressive because you can get that 10 points to 15 points way more often. Whereas here, if it's bearish, it rejects right at the channel and you take a full stop. So even though it didn't look very aggressive because the potential is for it to go higher, when you're wrong, it immediately fails. And that psychologically kind of hurts. I was right not to take this one after that one lost, but when it sets right back up again, this third wave gets a 50% retrace a ton. And I know that. I just, like I said, I was ready to take it. I just didn't want to take a full stop on it again. Had I not taken this one, I take this one every time. That's kind of the frustrating part. I would not have still been in the trade, though. There's no way I would have held that. But it is interesting that that's the one that ends up working. And I did have a feeling that was good. I wish I would have had the power bar signal here because that would have given me more confidence, but Trading over the purple bar with the volume shift should have been enough. I knew it was a long. I didn't want to pay the second stop in a row. A little bit frustrated. Not going to be perfect. Far from perfect. Me, I mean, not the system. I mean, the system's obviously not perfect either, but I'm going to make mistakes. And I think game theory-wise, that was an error. Like, this one might have been okay, but then you need to take this, because this is just as good, if not better. Like, I think I'm asking the market too much to come back all the way to the VPOC here. Just like up here was probably a mistake not to take, where was that trade? Up here, that I didn't take. There was a short right here that I didn't take because it missed it by like 3 ticks. I should have taken that too. Like, I'd have a killer day if I was just a little bit more aggressive. So I have to think, like, journal on that a bit and think about the fact that even if I don't think it's going to work all that often, following the trades as they string along, like following the algo, is usually the best choice. Skipping too many trades means that I'm risking filtering out the good ones and taking the bad ones. That's what it really comes down to. Filtering too many trades, even though there's a good reason to take it, like overriding the system without a valid reason, is really what I'm doing. I'm saying, like, you know, the algo says I should get long here, but I don't think it's going to work, so I'm going to skip it. Like, that's technically off process. Like, I'm not losing money for doing it, but I'm missing out on that opportunity to just follow the system. And it's like, why practice the system if I'm not going to take the trades? It's funny though, I get more frustrated by missing that than by taking the stop, because the stop was on process. This stop doesn't bother me that much, but it did end up making me not take this. You know what I mean? So it's like, psychologically, I don't, like, consciously, it doesn't bother me, but I think subconsciously it made me miss this move. So, But the other thing that made me miss that move is skipping out on all these, where I knew those scalps were okay to take, and I chose not to. And so it felt like, well, if I didn't take those, why am I taking this? So it's like overthinking it, basically, rather than just being like, if it's valid, take it. If it stops, reevaluate then. Rather than trying to guess, this one's not going to work, this one is going to work. Like, I should just be taking them until they stop working. Like, being okay taking the stop, because I'm going to end up taking the stop anyway. So therefore, I should be taking the more aggressive trades when I know they're valid, and trust that the stops won't throw me out of the game as long as I'm getting paid when I'm right. And in this case, I definitely would have. Like, it's at least like a $700 or maybe even $900 move, depending on how I handle this star. But I probably exit here. It's not a short signal, but it's a little scary. Okay, if we can trap back in here, it could be a short. Kind of sucks though, because we got 2 pink bars in a row, followed by a trapped seller. It's going to get back into that chop zone. You know what? What we really want is that for them to rip through this. Damn, that makes this so much better. I didn't even see that. Sorry, guys. I flaked on the fact that this exact scenario that I was thinking would happen here could actually happen right now. It just needed one more leg lower. But you see there's no retrace here. See that? It's just all one big down. So the wave just didn't end until here. It's the same trade. Right? So that is an oversight on my part. It is the same trade. Damn. That's frustrating. Nothing you can do about it now other than just wait for the next setup. Try to learn from your error, you know. Be glad it didn't cost me the entire day. and do better. Like, as long as you know what to do to improve, then like there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. But in this case, what's hard is the mistake is not making a decision. And those, for some reason, those errors seem harder to fix than making the wrong decision. Because in this case, I actually saw that it was a valid setup and just chose to filter it out, even though I had no real reason to. Like, it wasn't a super high odds setup, but it was good enough. It was the same exact thing as this, and I took this one and skipped this one. So, and I don't have a good reason for it. And so that's the kind of things that get me upset, because it makes me feel like I'm not like performing at my highest potential. It's like I know better than to try to outthink the algo. And like I said, I identified that it was a good trade, but the way I was dealing with the discomfort of the fact that I took this stop and I didn't take any of these scalps is that I figured, okay, I'll take the valid trade, but I want it cheap. And the likelihood that it's going to come down there and then blast off is actually pretty low. That's the problem. Like, I convinced myself that there was a decent chance that I was going to get good risk reward there, when realistically, if this does like rocket through that balance zone, you don't get another chance. So the times it works are the times it just goes like this. The times it doesn't work are the times when you get a really good risk reward. So I'm, like I said, it's just poor. It just turns out to be poor decision making. I'm not thinking logically. I'm thinking about things like in a I'm fantasizing about, wouldn't it be nice if I could get this trade for cheap? But the truth is like that rarely exists. You don't get like the third opportunity to buy at the low very often. Usually when you do, it doesn't work. So. All right. It's going to get choppy again as it gets back into here, I imagine. I don't want to be fighting this. This zone is just kind of a no-trade zone now, because we traded out of it and caught back into it. Like, I guess you could aggressively short it, but you'd have to be pretty bearish to do it. I think it just kind of chops around in there again. It's this was the trade, for sure. And I just didn't have the nuts to take it. That's what it really comes down to. I didn't want to risk the stop. This was technically a trap back in. I guess if you're bearish, you could short right here. That's valid. And that means that this is still valid. I guess we could short it. But with the green bar here now, I don't really want to. Because now what it's saying is it's bullish unless they can get under this and develop volume down there. So while it looked decent here, if you think this is going to get rejected, I kind of don't think it's going to get rejected. I think we trade back up to the top of this. But I don't know. I've been wrong before. It may just roll over. Or it may just get stuck here. It's orbiting that voodoo range level, and that's usually a sign we've got expanding range. But it can take a while for that to develop. Like an hour. It could take like literally an hour just chopping around here. It's just not doing anything, you guys. There's nothing to say. Sorry. Like zoning out. There's just nothing to do. You really don't want to trade in this. Like, see all these stars that aren't getting any, like, advancing moves. The stars to the downside, the yellow ones, are getting nothing. See that? It's like, boom, boom, and then they picked another one. It's like trapped. Print another one. Try to trap it. Print another one. They're gonna try to trap it, right? Like, that's a problem for bears. Of course, bulls aren't getting anywhere either. So. And they're not even putting any aggressive moves here. So there's just nothing to do. You don't want to join the side that's getting trapped. But so I don't think I want to be short here. But the long was down here. And it was a little bit aggressive, but it was valid. And I like the short up here for sure. But I just didn't have the... I wouldn't have held it very long anyway. But I think if anything, this is probably just going to balance for the rest of the day. Otherwise, maybe it goes a little bit higher. It's hard to imagine that they just rug pull it from here. Really hard. Because the slow pace suggests that nobody's really trading this. And when it gets slow like that, and especially when it's been so bearish, it's generally really hard to push lower. So if you had to guess, I'd guess go higher. But I see no setup. Let me just double check that the POC... Yeah, see, the POC on the 30-minute has risen all the way up to here. And every time we get there, we reject out of it. It's just really, really choppy and difficult trading. And if you look at the candles chart, it's like, who wants to trade in here? Where you should be trading is the edges, like that long, or the edges, like the short. That's where the good trades are. Like there's a reason why these are not great trades, right? This one was okay. This is better. Like deep discount. Like that's the right long. Wait for someone to try to get aggressive, not get anywhere, and they shift volume back up. That's the long you want. Star, purple bar, green bar. And now they're trying to shift volume or shift momentum higher. But notice there's no pink in the background. They're not really succeeding. Like this is a speed trap. Like they've got somebody trapped at the low down here, but they get nowhere. It's just like pink bar, no pink background. So we might get pink bar, star down here, and then that's like, it's technically a short again, but every short is not going anywhere. It's not technically stopping out, but it's like, it's just stalled. Okay, speed bar up, speed trap up, speed trap down. Like that's even more reason to be cautious here. See how like every diamond, every star, they're just doing nothing. Like there's a ton of aggressive trading in here, and they get nothing done. What does that mean? It means that it's aggressive relative to everything else we're seeing, but there's probably no participants here. All the big traders are probably out of the are probably just done for the day. It's probably just time to pack it up, is what that means. You don't want to be trading when it's doing this. It takes time to identify the difference between this and then a move that extends down and then sets you up down here. It takes time to identify the difference between that, but it really is just like it's price action. There's no volatility right now on this time frame. It's pretty much untradeable. To trade it, you need to go down to a smaller time frame, and then you're going to take more stops. But you can see even this, like you're trading in a very, very small range, and they don't all work. Like this one stops, this one works. This one is not good. That's pretty aggressive to short this. It's like they barely even got any setups, even on the smaller time frames. So I don't. And then here. Yeah, you just have balance. It's just balance. It's just, there's nothing to do. Questions? Anybody want me to go look at the earlier when it was more interesting? I don't know. Let me know. Like I said, I'd love for it set up again so we could improve the P&L, but I don't see anything tradable here. Like we need to leave this area for it to get traded, for me to trade this. So I'm just kind of relaxed and a little bit frustrated that I missed this, but I mean, yeah, that you're not going to catch every trade. Moral of the story is either be aggressive and take them, or don't be aggressive and just don't trade it. There we go. Evacuate the building. There we go. That's what we needed. All right, out of the area. Now let's see if we can get a trade set up. Finally got out of there. Okay, trading underneath the previous low. Was that news? This was kind of abrupt. Yeah, BOE's Bailey's talking. Wow. It was up all night dealing with UK market issues, says Bailey. I was up all night dealing with UK market issues. Message to funds is you've got 3 days left. Wow, that was definitely news. Shit. Pension funds have a window of opportunity to rebalance approximately 3 days. Jeez. Wow. Holy cow. Gilt purchases are a financial stability intervention. Brr. Market volatility went beyond bank stress tests. Yeah, this is dangerous trading now, you guys, because there's the BOE. It's basically like the Fed speaker, right? But it's just the Bank of England. So it's, and we're going to respond to that because they've had some structural issues, liquidity problems, and market does not like uncertainty. And he's basically, Bailey's, he or she, I forget, is basically confirming that those structural problems are concerning to the point where he was up all night. There's a window of opportunity for pension funds to rebalance. Bailey says message to pension funds is you have 3 days left to get this done. 3 days. Like no one wants to hear that. unless you're short. No one in a position in their pension wants to hear that. This is evacuate the building. You saw it. Like, we did have a little hint that something was going on here, but it was just news. This was just like dead, new information, evacuate. That's all that is. You can get kind of lucky and catch those, but that's just new information to the market. They respond. You don't want to buy it. You only have 3 days to get this done. Why would you say that? Oh my God. So it's bearish as long as it continues to trade below these purple zones. And it'll balance if it can get back inside. But it's got to actually develop volume there. The only opportunity to short this is if they retrace and then reject. I'm not trading breakdowns. Even with news. Not going to do it. Not worth it. Too many times I've gotten burned doing it. Not going to do it. I will wait patiently. But if we can get a setup, I'll take it. But we're way below the channel now. On all time frames. It's, yeah, that was just a brutal rug pull. During a period where it looked like it was completely balanced in an area that we knew they'd exit, we just didn't know which direction. It's, yeah, that's bearish. All the people who got trapped at the lows are suddenly getting back into their shorts. That's what's happening here. Like, if you're trading options, like you can probably trade the breakdown, but I'm not going to trade futures on a breakdown because too many times I'm going to get the 15-point retrace, I'm going to get stopped out, and it's going to roll, and I'm going to be stopped out exactly where I should be getting short. So I'll just wait for them to come back into one of these zones and set me up there, and I'll be cool with that. Let's see if we can catch a short. I'm not fighting this, that's for sure. Not even thinking about being long after that. NQ's done. Back to the voodoo range level. Ouch. Glad I don't have calls. That hurts. Somebody's getting hurt real bad. Yeah, what we want is we want them to come up here, print a pink bar, and then an orange bar or a star. But you can see the VPOC is way up here. So they could retrace this pretty significantly. But the news was really bearish, so it's like, yeah, I kind of doubt they will. They could, though. But you can see we came all the way back to where the shorts were trapped down here. That's where we got. They're going to try to save this and then go lower, I'm guessing. Green bar. Oh, pink bar. Oh, we might get a chance right here, you guys. It's potentially short coming up. Triangle up, pink bar. Give me an orange bar, and I'll take it. It's aggressive because the location's not great, but if they can do it, you can go lower.
Order filled.
Let's see what we do. I will take this a second time if they come back up again. It's just for a quick scalp. I just want to see if I can hit this green line, basically. I'll take 10 to 15 points and be out. They might need to come back up and do it again, and that's fine. I will do it twice. But I just want this to go zoop, and I'll just take profits into the aggression. Just get my stop back, basically. Right? Get back to high watermark and be happy with that. So if I can get like 15 points, I'll just be out, and that's cool. I took it, yeah. Back to break even. No fill yet. Looks like it's gonna fill me. Here we go. And one tick. Are you serious? One tick? Come on. You bastards. Look at that. One fucking tick. I just wanted to break that green line. You bastards. One fucking tick? Really? You guys suck. Oh my god, that's frustrating. It literally missed me by a tick. One tick. I have my fucking sell for 1 mini at 61.75. Goddamn. Bastards. You bitches. That fucking sucks. One tick. Now I just want to like drop my exit like 10 points and just be like, oh yeah, I'll make you pay for that pain. Like at this point, like I'll just wait for, you know, like just take it as low as you can now. Fuck the aggressive exit. Like that was the exit right there. So yeah, we're just gonna let this fucking run because you guys suck. All right. I just took away my sell. I just deleted it. All right, we should probably get out. Yeah, that was good. That was good. All right, that was good. Good. So, I mean, is it like a amazing, is it an amazing day? No, but, you know, $600, like, yeah, like, that's good enough. I'm done. $600, high water mark of the day, I'm happy. Traded in 2 different accounts because I'm evaluating as well, so it's like, yeah. But I'm happy with that. But see why I did that? Like when they didn't fill that on the first bounce, there was really no reason to leave. My initial target was this green line, and they literally missed it by 1 tick. Tried to bounce and rejected it. At that point, I knew this voodoo range level was going to get tested, so I just waited for this aggressive move. When I saw it was purple, I just marketed out of the order, not right at the low, but low enough. And then now they're going to try to bounce it. It might set up short again. I'm done though for the day. Like I'm after making those mistakes earlier and getting out at the high water mark of the day. I am super happy. Like because I was down almost $300 and not on the day, but in that one account. And then I ended that account up 40, and then the other account I was up 500 on the other account. So 582 on the other account. So you know, that's good. And I realized that the win rate on on the afternoon account was like bullshit, but it's just 2 trades. Yeah, it looks like 6 losing trades because it's 2 losses, um, and 1 winning trade because I took all my profits. But it's 6 losing trades because I got stopped out of 3 different, like I had opportunity, I had split them up, and so they filled it 6 different times, but it's actually just 2 losses and 1 win. Just looks bad. Um, but I'm cool with that. Like it's technically only $600, but it's like the way it panned out, I'm cool with it. I could have held, right? I could have just held and let it roll down and try to get filled into the end of the day at the lows, but yeah, I just wanted that stop back and I wanted to end the day at the high water mark, and I'm happy. That's all I wanted. I don't need to make $1,000 a day to be profitable. I just would like to try to make good decisions and be paid for it. So, especially when I have a really good morning, I don't like having my last trade be a loser. And it's just a psychological thing. Like, I want those good decisions to be rewarded, even if that reward is relatively small compared to what it could be. So I'm totally fine with missing this extension because I did make the decision correctly to short it here, and I did make the decision correctly to hold it through this. And so, you know, I missed another 30 points, maybe more, but I'm getting paid for the good decision, and that's what matters more. Had I taken this with bigger size and I had like more pieces to dole out, I might have held runners, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I switched to minis from micros, and so I'm not able to trade more than 2 contracts. So I just took 1 mini and I was out. But had I taken 2, I would have held a runner and I'd still be short. Or had I still been traded 8 micros, I would have been out of 5, and well, maybe out of 6, let's say, and I'd be still short 2. And I probably would have made the same amount by the end, doing it that way rather than just taking the full size and getting right out. Depending on how far they retrace this, I don't know how far they'll go up, but I would be trailing my stop relatively aggressively to like behind this, and then eventually behind this, and then if they push again, it'd be behind this one. And I just keep on trailing my stop down there because you don't want to, with the trailing drawdown evaluation, you really don't want to get back a lot, even with a small amount. But you can see that they really have not succeeded in pushing it back up. They might right here. So I'd exit my runners. I'd be out now. And like I said, with 8 micros, it's probably about the same result as what I got with the minis. So I'm cool. Happy to end on a positive note. Let's see if they do take the low. I do think they're going to go lower. I do. I don't think those buyers at the lows are safe at all. I do think they're going to go lower. I would not buy this, but it's pretty hard to stay short when they shift volume like that. Like, you don't really want to stay short. Well, at least I don't. I don't want to stay short. But it works. But see, now, like, if they like pause here, like, it's really, I don't know. Like, how do you hold here? Yeah, I'm not very good at that. Probably for good reason, because it doesn't work very often. Like, I want to get the fuck out of the shorts here. But that's a good trade. Like, that's, you know, it was a valid entry. I took it a little bit aggressively. I exited aggressively. I took the size I was supposed to take, and I ended the day at the high water mark. That is all I can do. Yes, I didn't trade perfectly, but considering that I didn't trade perfectly, ending the day up $600 is pretty good. Considering that I never had more than 15 points of risk, or never had more than 18 points of risk on the board. Ending the day up, basically like 4 times that is I'm pretty happy, because I was trading micros most of the day. So like it's at least 2, if not 4 times. Let's say 3, just average of 3 times that. So I'd have to take 3 losses in a row to give back that day, which doesn't happen very often. And have 0 wins, like 3 losses in a row. So cushions me for the rest of the week, basically, because I very rarely take 3 losses in a row. So if I can start the week with like a 500 plus day, usually I will end the week positive. I don't know why anyone would buy this. It doesn't make any sense to me. Some people are just super aggressive though, but those comments were clearly not anticipated. The order flow changed character immediately. They're going to try to save it at these levels, but it's not going to work, if I had to guess. If I had puts, I'd be holding them. Right? Like, I'd be willing to take the loss on it now. This is a news-driven rug pull. I mean, look at this. Like, there's just it's literally just evacuate the building. Everybody who bought in the morning did so good, and all of these guys that bought up to here all just got smushed. So I'm just glad not to be long. VIX going to 34. I can't believe Bailey actually said you have 3 days to get this done to pension funds. That's nuts. Wow. Oh, wow. Look at Sterling. Jeez, cable is fucked. Not again. Sorry, Brits. I mean, maybe it's a good thing for Britain in some ways, but it looks like it's not good news for their economy. Wow. Yeah, that's heavy. That is heavy. Yeah, NQ looks like it's in big trouble. ES does not look much better. Like, look at that, you guys. Like, same thing as this. Same thing as this. Same thing as this. Same thing as this, right? Now, we have the same signals giving us longs as well. Here, 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 and here. But when you look, who got more out of those test beyond, no close beyond? The bears, right? So, in higher time frame, bearish, clearly. And all of a sudden, we've given back like 1%, and now we're, yeah. This is bear market. That's how this works. So, if anybody's surprised by this, like, yeah, get with the program. It shouldn't, with VIX at 34, this is just what's going to happen on a regular basis. Yeah, that short's looking pretty decent now. I guess I should have held it. I wish I could have taken a bigger size and taken, but like I said, after making those earlier errors, it's really hard to trust that you're going to trade down through the low of the day. But my instincts were right in this case in saying that that's probably exactly what's going to happen. But notice I'm not nervous or anxious about missing out on this. Like, and I'm not interested in. See, the problem with trading breakdowns here, you get short here. You get a little bit, and then they come all the way back on you, only to roll down. So, like, if you're okay putting your stop all the way up here, it's cool. I don't want a 40-point stop. So, even getting short here with a 20-point stop, well, 18, is like, what are my chances of taking out low a day right away? Not that good. After a move like that, we're probably going to come back to the midpoint and then roll over. So I'd much rather wait But sometimes it just rolls. So they try to shift volume up aggressively, and they trap them. Wow. A good example where it's like longs just stop working. Do not long it. Don't buy this. Ignore all long signals. Red alert. Don't short the low, but yeah. It's super aggressive getting long here. Because your target is literally this. Best case. Most of the time. You gotta be damn quick to do it. Like they have their eyes on all that liquidity under the low, and they're gonna get it. If I had to guess, they're gonna go get it. They just need to roll. Oh wow, they did trap some sellers. Look at that. They did trap some sellers there. That's interesting. They've traded over the 30-minute VPOC. They might get to this midpoint. I still wouldn't take that long. I realize it's valid, but way too aggressive for me. I'm not guessing what the low is. I'd rather short this than buy this. I'm not gonna do that either though. Not after the day I've had. There is no reason to. There's no reason to be aggressive here. It is interesting though to see if the algo is right. And in this case it did say buy this. Purple bar, star, trap back in. It is valid. It did not stop out. It gave you 20 points. So even the longs are still working. And if this is a star to the downside or an orange bar, it's also a short. I'd prefer that it trades to the midpoint. That would be ideal. And then rolls over. But see how the speed changed? Like the character of the market shifted. And sellers have a huge advantage when they get speed like this. The likelihood that that low gets taken out is really high. Fuck, I want to short this so bad. That's a great short. I really, what would be even better is if they come back up, trade above it, and then reject it. That's like high odds. This is aggressive because we're so close to the low, but it probably works. Just because of the speed, it probably works. But if they come back up and trap above that and then roll over, it's gonna be really hard not to take that because that's a short almost every time. But like I said, I kind of doubt it even sets up. I don't even think they get above that orange bar. I think it's done. I think longs are toast. Could be wrong. They did shift volume higher here on the 30-minute. I don't know. God, it's hard to imagine they don't trade under that low, isn't it? It's really weird to think that they would get that close and not take it out. Like, there's all that liquidity from the morning down there. Like, those stops are done, right? Like, this is probably going lower. And that was a decent setup. But yeah, if it traps back in after testing above it, it's you got to get short again. You really got to. Like anything in this range is shortable. Is it aggressive? Yes, you're shorting into the low of day. You're gonna risk getting trapped, but yeah, like it you usually do get 30 points here. That's at least, yeah, most of the time. If I wasn't at the high water mark of my day, I would take it because I do think it's going to work. But trading at the end of the day and potentially giving away what was a pretty awesome day would suck. So I just don't need the trade, but it's valid and it'll probably work. Boom. Goodbye. See you later. Bye-bye. Keep going. Almost there now. No way they buy this. Wouldn't cover for $1 million. Wouldn't cover this at all. Like, my eyes would be glued to like that 85, and I'd just be like, nope, I'm not taking a single profit till we trade under that and see what they do out down there. Wouldn't do it. But just that level of aggression makes me kind of glad that I'm done trading for the day, because that's probably not wise, but my instincts are like, that low is toast. But I know I'm biased because like I said, when I have a good day, I tend to get it more aggressive. Not with my trading, but with my thinking. I have what's it called? My process keeps me from trading too aggressive, but my brain starts to think that I know what it's going to do. Yeah. There's the momentum. So the bell says we're trading way under the channel. If you think this is balanced, look for a long. I do not think this is balanced. So that bell just says that like bears probably have the momentum. But if you think it's balanced, you can look for a long. But it's not balanced, in my opinion. It's going straight down. No way that low holds. Okay, finally it gets taken out. So I would watch this now, and if it prints pink or purple, I'd probably take profits. If it doesn't, I'd just wait until I get a purple bar. Yeah. If it's pink or purple, I'd just let it go and be happy with that trade right there. But as long as this does not print purple or pink, the actual bar itself, the inside of the bar is not purple. The outside of the bar is actually being purple is great for shorts. Yeah, see momentum shifting up. So now I would need a purple bar to get out. And it needs to close purple. And then I'd be exiting the trade because it's a good trade and sellers are giving up. We have to wait for it to close. Like I said, I'm just paper trading in my mind at this point because I've already hit my target of the day. And there, I'd be out. So out market from here. Right? This is the signal to get short. You had to hold through a little bit of heat. You could have added there. Takes you to the low of day, puts in a purple or a pink bar, and I'm out. And it would have been almost 40 points. Okay. Hey, FA. Nice to see you again. And that's why you exit on the purple bar underneath the low. So this is actually the first time the buyers actually have a chance, because they may be taking profits here. This is the first one where it makes some sense to try to buy it, but God, I'm not going to be that guy. That's for sure. I'm not going to be the one who tries to guess the low, but the algo says this could be it. So if you want to be that guy that bought the low of the day, this is when you do it. I'm just not that guy. But algo says valid long. Take with it. I mean, it does not know about the news. It does not know about, all that. It's just saying order flow says there's an aggressive buyer who wants the market to go higher and is supporting their level. You probably can get 10 to 15 points on it, maybe more. But I'm not one who's just going to stand in front of a freight train like this. But see how they're just not getting any follow through? Like that's bearish. Yeah. Ouch. Not stopped yet, though. Oh, never mind. It's going to stop. Look at that. When speed increases on the move down, bears aren't done. Oh. Is that buyers? Wow, look at that. Told you, the algo knows something. That arrow means that there's a buyer down here that's supporting, that's reloading. So, somebody wants to hold the market up here. I don't know who would do it, but. Is he there on the higher time frame too? No. Okay. This is probably going to fail. But last time I said that, I was totally wrong, so don't listen to me. And speed trap, close it bearish with a diamond. Wow, where is the next target? We're at the voodoo range level here. It would be an interesting place to bounce. But where is the next? If this fails, the next target is a lot lower. That's probably why they're doing this. There is not another. I don't have another support on my 4-hour chart. Yep, they're trying. I don't have it. You have to go back really far. Like it's not even showing up on my 4-hour chart. I don't know where the next. It's like 670, 150 or something. So they're gonna try to bounce it. Yep. Algo knows where the 10-point scalps are. Oh, there's the speed trap. Uh-oh, but it's purple. That's weird. Buyers giving up, but... Oh, and then they have an aggressive seller here, but no follow-through. Oh, and they got the arrow here, too. Okay, so we might be chopping in this area. Arrow up, arrow down. This is probably going to be a balance zone. Interesting. They might sneak under this low and pull it back again. Yep, see that? So sneaky. They take your stop, and then they're going to run it. Watch. That's such bullshit. It's like, oh, you got to stop at the low day? Here, let me take that for you. And now we'll just go 30 points higher. Yeah, thanks. It's such bullshit. This is... Welcome to futures trading. Stops get eaten all day. Okay, never mind. They're just gonna... They're just gonna flush it. Weird price action. No. Oh. Buyer's back. This has to be a star, otherwise it's totally fucked. God, even with a star, it's really sketchy. Oh, they got it. They got speed and a star. Oh my god, they might actually do it. Will they do it? They sneak underneath the low and speed trap them higher. That's hilarious. Someone is clearly showing up here. I'm amazed. I don't know. Like, the only explanation I have is, like, obviously the algo is just looking at order flow, so like it doesn't know anything other than just what's on the footprint and the DOM and all that, but the time and sales and, you know, it's just saying the information, it's just calculating it quickly. But what I'm saying is, like, I don't understand why they would try to hold this other than the fact that it literally is a voodoo range level. And so the algos tend to show up here as long as it's not fighting, what's it called, a heavy momentum. But like the fact that they actually do it, I don't know. At the end of the day, like it's just like, what? You're really gonna? Okay. But yeah, if you were fast enough, the algos clearly signaled here that there was a momentum shift. That is that's the best place to get long there. When this one fails and it comes right back again with speed trap and a star, like, and you got a purple background here and they just break, like, yeah. That is an amazing scalp. It's just, you had to be so fast and committed, you know, like you'd have to be ready to actually buy that. And I was not. It looked like every single long had given up. And then like shorts just got stuffed again. I don't know. Was there more news? That was so weird. That was so strange. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like they just decided to hold it, I guess. Like algos decided to protect the level, defend the level. I don't know. Like the only reason I can tell you that I think it happened is because it was exactly 88 points away, or 166 points away from this one, 176 points from this one. I think that's why they're protecting it, is because it's just two voodoo ranges down, and the algos just know to respond there. It doesn't necessarily mean it won't be broken. It's just that they're going to get a response. And then once they realize when there's no like human buyers following through, they'll just rip it down again. But what a crazy bounce. And just the momentum shift and the speed is just like, yeah. Unbelievable. It did signal. I don't know. You would have to be really fucking fast to hit that. Back in my 20s, I probably could have hit it, but at 40, I'm just too damn slow. All you, what's it called? Like, Gen Z traders who've been playing video games for your entire life have no trouble hitting those, but, like, yeah. I'm just not that quick. Well, after seeing that, you definitely don't want to be shorting, in my opinion. Like you're being really aggressive now, shorting that because they got under this low and just trapped back with incredible speed, and so they're not just going to let it fall. you can't short this, in my opinion. You have to let them run out of steam. If they can trap a buyer, you can short it, but you can't just be the first one to just try to attack that level again. In my opinion, that's suicide because they trap sellers down here. So they're going to keep going until they run out of juice. So once they trap a buyer, then maybe it can roll. But there's only 40 minutes left in the day, so we've probably seen the low of day. Well, that was just a weird order flow. Unless there was news right then. Maybe there was. I don't see any. But that was strange. Whoa, Credit Suisse is down 6%. I don't know. There might be more news. I haven't been paying attention. Just flipping through Twitter, I'm seeing that's definitely not normal. Investigated for tax fraud. Okay, well that's not good. Why am I not surprised? Down 6% almost. Wow, look at that. Trapped. In retrospect, it looks so obvious, but I'm telling you, like, real life, if you were watching this, it did not look like shorts were going to give this up. And then it was just like, see ya. So you really had to be committed to that long and know that it might have been coming. They did slow it down a little bit here, but it was like purple bar, like buyers giving up, sellers aggressively push, and then like someone just came in and was like, nope, I want this. And then sellers are like, okay, just kidding, I'll let you have it. Like they just folded right here. They raised, folded. All, I don't know, like you don't see that very often. It was really strange. But I mean, to be fair, if you look at like what they accomplished, like this is, look at this move. Staying under the midpoint of the channel this whole time, like you're going to get some retracement. Weird. Very volatile. I guess it's not that weird because VIX is 30 something, so it's good. I like seeing it. It's exciting because it means trading is better. I'd much rather see this than what we were getting right before this. This crap. I don't want that. I want this, right? Even if I'm not short the whole time. Like I could take, like you saw me take pieces of it. I don't need this. I don't need to be the buyer down here. But once I see it, I know not to short this one. And I know this one's actually a little bit better because it went above these red. If you're going to short, this is where you do it, actually. If you're still bearish, that's the short. Is it aggressive? Yeah. I mean, look at that pitch, right? You've got like a higher than 45-degree angle going up. Like, it's dangerous. But that's the first short that's technically valid. It probably fails. But the algo does say it's a short, so it's probably going lower. Again, your stop has to go up here, and your entry's anywhere in this range. So you could still short. You basically just want to get as cheap as possible of an entry to put your stop up there. And your target is low day. And if you don't think you can get to low day, there's really no reason to do it. Because you're shorting in the hole against momentum. Short-term momentum. You're fighting short-term momentum. But like I said, when the algo says it's short, it usually is short. and the algo says it's short. So I'm done for the day, but if I wasn't, I would take it. It's definitely valid, and like I said, if I wanted to be aggressive and I was bearish, that is there's no, the short I took, there's no reason to take this and not this other than I'm done for the day, because this one is just as good. It's literally the same signal. This one broke the low day. There's no reason this one can't. Oh, they gonna stop it? Well, yeah, it's got to get over the high. If they do stop it, momentum's definitely shifted. I don't. You know what? That was actually a really good short entry when they pulled back that high. Damn, that was actually a perfect entry. You got like 5 points risk. You could already be out of the trade here, and double your money, right? Double your risk. Get 2R. Like risk 5 points, just like get 5, get 6, be out. Be happy. And then leave a runner and maybe get 30. Yeah, that was the short. Fuck. I figured it out just moments too late. I'm like, wait a minute. When I thought I'm getting stopped, that's actually the perfect time to do it. That's when you hit it. Because now you're just in runners now. You've already paid for your risk. It's a free look to the new low. And then when it doesn't happen, you just get like, break even. No big deal. Algo knows what it's doing. Definitely good to see the edges working. That's really important. Really important for me. To see that the algo's setting up and it's paying. It's just a matter of, do I have the guts to take the trade? And when it works all day long like this, like, I should, but like I said, it's the more you make in the day, it's harder for me anyway. It's harder and harder to take some of these aggressive trades. I hate giving back when I'm on process. I don't want to teach myself bad habits, but fuck, when you see it work all day long, it's like, God, this could have been a crazy good day had I just programmed the thing to take the trade every single time it triggers. I'd be up like $3 grand trading micros. But it's just been right all day long. Shifting volume higher, so this is probably gonna. No, it wouldn't be an entry anyway. You just wait. You'd stay short. Yeah, this is a great entry up here on this pullback. That is fantastic for a short. Doesn't really get better than that. You trapped above these previous highs, rolled over with volume, came back up, gave you a beautiful entry right there. Take runners to the low day, basically. Very rarely do I trade the last 45 to 30 minutes, but God, that would have been a great trade. Whether or not it works or not, like just times it works, you literally risk 5 points and you can get like 50. Yep, just a moment too late that I realized it's like, wait. If it doesn't stop you, it's a great entry. And if the stop is only five points, like why not? But by the time I had realized that it had already started to roll, and then I would have had to risk 15. It's just like, that's okay. So the lesson is, even if you think it's going to fail, be ready to take it if it says it's valid. As long as you can get it for cheap, there's no excuse not to take that. That will take some practice, but yeah, that would honestly make my day right there. So I should practice that trade. Just a moment too late not to execute it. I saw it, but didn't push the button. I wasn't ready to push the button, and as soon as I was like, wait, that means I've got a really good risk reward here. I should just take the trade. By the time I thought about it, it was gone. Okay, well, yeah, there's There's the volume shift back up, so they're going to come back up and test the VPOC here. Where is volume on this? Oh, yes, they've already put volume below it. So you'd be looking for shorts here. Another orange bar is best case scenario for bears. That's what you really want, is then for them to print a lower high that's orange, and the bulls are really in big trouble. They need to shift volume lower. There we go. Here it comes. Oh, I want to short that so bad. This is where I wish I had a third account. Get two to target, take a third one. Wow. Oh, that's so juicy. Yeah, that's a great short. It's aggressive, but it probably, I don't know. I'm biased. Pretty sure that's valid. Lower high that's orange. Do you take it twice if it stops out? I'm not sure about that. What do you do if this trades higher? Probably. But, yeah, that's pretty bearish. Once again, they gave you a chance to get it with like a 5-point risk up there. It's the same exact trade. It's just the same thing over and over again. Are they going to stop this one? Looks like they're going to stop it. Here it comes. See, this is where you short it, right here. And you put the stop right above the orange bar. And worst case scenario, you lose like 6 points, 5 points. And when it works, you get 30. Like, I assume they're going to stop it. But man, the times they don't, you just get paid so well. Look at that. They just can't get it over a higher, lower high. And so the way, like, if I would have gotten short there, then as they close this bar, you take off like a third, and then when they close another bar, you take off a third, and then you leave a third in case they roll it down to the lows. Like, it literally set up twice the exact same way. Signal's exactly the same. It's high volume shift. Can't get over the high, give you a beautiful entry. Does not get any better than that. Maybe I should rethink not trading the last 30 minutes, because you don't see that very often. Not on a 5-point risk. Wow. Good Lord. Got FOMO now. What the fuck? Yeah, it definitely set up. That was pretty. So I'd be out of 2/3 of my trade already, just waiting for the low to be hit now, with a 5-point risk. Sometimes rules suck, but the rules say hit my target, last 30 minutes, don't take any trades. Can't break them, but sure do want to reevaluate that, because that is a perfect setup twice in a row. I wonder, because liquidity is lower and it's been like a holiday and stuff, I wonder if that makes the open and the close better to trade, because there's more participation, whereas like in the middle of the day on days like this when there's low liquidity, with participation low, the algo might not be as predictable. But once you finally like, normally when you have good participation, the open and the close are so overly participated that like you get a lot of signals that like aren't necessarily reliable. But now, since liquidity is low, the signals that you get at the close and the open might actually be super reliable. I don't know. I haven't actually tested that. It's just a theory, but it's unusual to get so many valid trades in a row. Okay, now the runners stop out, but still, like, that's a good trade, and it's 2 in a row. I just don't see that very often at the close. Usually you get lots of choppiness and like triggers that, or signals that trigger but then don't trade it, that don't play out, and lately they've been working. And the open, same thing at the open today. It's like I avoided trading it, but it's like, wow, that actually worked. So I'll have to evaluate that. I wonder if it's because liquidity's so low, um, and volume's lower. So I don't know. All right. Well. Oh, another drop back in. Are they gonna? They're gonna trigger it again? Another orange bar? They're gonna do it again. If it's orange, it's a short again. Wow, look at that volume getting shifted, and they're not buying it. Look at that. Like, I just have to assume that one of these aren't going to work, but they keep, and then they trade up, they find resistance, and they reject. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, finally, one's going to stop. No? What the fuck? It does the same thing. Okay. This doesn't make any sense. It's like it's broken. Okay. Oh, it didn't stop. It just looks rigged. It's like, how come this keeps working? Okay, there we go. Stopped. Good. Good lord. I was about to tilt there, just having extreme FOMO. Like, why can't I fucking trade this? Okay, good. This is what I usually see in the last 30 minutes. Is like, trade gets triggered, trade gets immediately stopped, trade rolls over, Ben tilts and like loses all his money. Like that's how it usually closes. But yeah, lately we've been actually seeing it work, and it's unusual. But wow. Well, I guess the low's not getting taken. I don't know. I don't even know what to think about this. Very weird. It's just so strange how they rejected it right there, right off the level. I shouldn't be surprised, but it's like the speed that they took this was crazy, and then they did get a higher low, even though they traded underneath the VPOC. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I guess maybe they're gonna just chop in here. It's hard for me to believe that they would actually continue to squeeze this, but wow. This is a sign of a momentum shift higher, so I mean, hard to be bearish. The orange bar, green bar does not happen when it's bearish. Oh wow. I'm gonna give it up here? That'd be funny. I don't even know what they're doing anymore. It's just kind of got bonkers now. Pretty sure buyers are trying to trap them at the lows, but I don't know. I don't trust it. That's exactly what it looks like they're doing though. It's like, we gave you a new low, now we're gonna go get a new high. And that's just weird. Another orange bar with the volume diamond. Okay, if they trade up into that wick and reject again, I'm gonna tilt the fuck out because I can't take it and I really want to. That is a valid short, but it's in the last 20 minutes of the day and I can't do it. Yeah, if they do this and then they reject it, I'm gonna have to like go take a cold shower or something because like that is fucking frustrating. And yeah, I'll just have to reevaluate whether or not I might need more rules about when it's okay to trade the open and the close, because it's really frustrating seeing this work and not taking it Like, I want this to stop so bad. Please stop out. Like, show me I'm doing the right thing by not trading the last couple minutes of the day. Look at that. Approaches the high. Usually they just squeeze it higher because it's the end of the day and they've got all these participants to squeeze. And lately, they can't seem to do it. They approach the high, they give you an amazing entry, and they roll it over. Like, this is where you short with a 3 to 5 point risk. I don't know what to tell you guys. It didn't used to work this well at the close. I don't get it. I don't know what's changed, but I'm having like severe FOMO right now because the algo's like short, and it keeps working. It did fail here, but it didn't have the volume diamond, and now it does again. And then once again, you get another, like, basically an immediate 2R move, and I don't like. I've never seen it this consistent in the close. I've never seen this before. Usually it confirms over and over again why I don't trade the first and last 30 minutes, but lately, like, the first and last 30 minutes has been just dynamite. It's like, oh my god, why am I not in the market? But like I said, I have to follow my rules because all my backtest says that it kind of stops working. So what it makes me think is, like, I got to spend some time and see what the hell what are the conditions that I should be looking for this to stop working again in the close and the open, because right now it's working beautifully. Look at that. It's perfect. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, there's no reason not to trade that. Look at that entry. They let you come all the way up here. They don't stop you out, and they just roll it over. I don't know. Super FOMO tilt right now. Like, all I want to do is trade this, and I'm not allowed to, and it's pissing me off. Because you get in up here, and your stop goes right there. It's literally 5 points of risk, and like you get like 50 points. And that's like the third time that's worked. That's a 10-to-1 R to R that I'm not able to take because my rules say don't fucking close the end of the day. Don't trade the end of the day or the beginning of the day. And it did the exact same thing this morning. And it's just like, what has changed that is making this work so damn well, even in the end of the day? I don't know. But I'd like to know, because the potential for profits are huge if I would just be willing to break my damn rules, but I'm not. And it's pissing me off. Like, I hate that it's working and I'm not allowed to trade it, but I don't know what to say. It's it's giving great payouts. Even though it's the end of the day, it's not trapping that often. The only thing I can think of is that maybe liquidity is lower, so we need more participation. And now that we've got enough participation, that the algo's just going to work perfectly at the end of the day. And I don't know how to tell when that's going to stop, other than just to see it stop. And so I'm not willing to take the risk that it flips back to not working at the end of the day. But holy shit. Like, I literally missed like 130 points of profits with like 5 point risk. Like, I could risk $100 to make like almost like 3K. I don't in like the last 30 minutes. And I've just never in the last year I've never seen it work this well at the end of the day. But this is not the first day that this has happened. This has been happening. Where it's like, wait a minute, these trades that used to never work at the end of the day are actually working again. So I don't know. It's definitely worth doing some research on, and I makes me think I should just be trading every single trigger. Makes me feel like a huge pussy for missing it, you know? But I know that my backtests say that they do stop working eventually when when participation gets too high. I know they do start stopping out, and we start to get crazy like price action. usually at the open and the close, but right now like that is working the best out of the entire day. So I shouldn't be upset. I had a good day. It's just missing out on 130, 150 points in the last 30 minutes is irritating. But I'm only doing what I'm supposed to be doing, which is following my rules. But it makes me think like those rules, I don't even need them right now, right? Like the algo's working so well that I don't even need to follow the rules, which is a really dangerous thought pattern. And I've already closed my broker because of it. Like I know I'm tilting. And if I wasn't on the stream, I'd be wanting to take trades. But I'm like too self-aware that like I'm gonna look like a dumbass if I take it when it stops working. So I've closed my broker. I know better. But it's infuriating. It shouldn't bother me that much that it's working, but it does. But I know that's a sign not to not trade. So you don't have to worry about me. I'm all good. I've still, I've not taken another trade. We'll prove it. Here, I'll open it back up and prove it. I have not taken another trade. It has not changed. Hold on. Just in case anyone's worried, here we go. I have not taken another trade. Net P&L, all that. Still the same as it was before. Still green on the day. High watermark. Happy. Like I said, the afternoon account could have been blowout numbers had I just broken my rules. But yeah, if I do that every single day, eventually that catches up with me. And I know that. But wow, is that frustrating seeing that work like that so often. So I just need to like reframe that into what are the conditions where this starts working so well and I can take advantage of it. But the fact that I see the edge working and I'm not allowed to trade it is wow, so frustrating. Anyway, I think I'm just gonna end the stream because I feel like it's just irritating me watching it work when I'm not allowed to trade it. So I'm just gonna close it and be happy with the day that I'm having. The last thing I want to do is give away a good day. Clearly it's working, and I hope that's obvious to you. The only mistakes I made today was not taking trades that were valid, and then trying to guess which ones are working and which ones aren't, and like taking this and not taking this, and that's just dumb, right? Like that's just not being smart and not trusting my system. Thankfully, I got a piece of the down and made my stops back, ended at the high water mark. There's really no better way to end the day than trading by your rules, making a few mistakes, and getting your money back. So I shouldn't be upset, right? And the fact that I am makes me know that I should not be staring at this. But let it be a lesson that I can trade better, right? And so could you. Like you could easily follow the same system and do way better than that. It just means that I have to do some work. But thankfully, it means my edge is good. The system, the process is working. I just need to follow it and trust it better and be okay with missing it when I'm following my rules. So like I need to do some work, but thankfully the results are positive. But you can't just like say like I had a good day, so I must have done everything right. Like that's not actually the case. I could have had a better day, yeah, I might actually have an opportunity to find an edge that used to not be there, but might be there for the time being, with the open and the close actually working out. So I'll do some back testing, and if I find something interesting, I will post about it. But for now, I'm just going to keep doing what's working and be happy with the green day. I hope you guys learned something. Hopefully it's at least entertaining. If you want to know more about the algo, you can always give me a DM on Twitter. Otherwise, you can email Simon at trade, the letter N, and then the word perform at gmail.com. Like that. Give him, g@gmail.com. And let him know you follow me and that you would like a free pass to the room. In the room, they watch this algo, which is a lot of the same signals, just not quite as many. It's a lot easier to learn. You learn this one first. If you want to adjust it, you can add new things. If you're already in the trade and perform room and you've learned this and you want more signals and you want to like know what's going on with this, with my extra stuff, like let me know. I will help you set it up. If you're not in the trade and perform room and you don't have this on your desktop, my algo will unfortunately not work on your Sierra chart until you have this on your desktop, because this is the skeleton and if you don't have the proper DLL, it won't work. So you do need to first be a premium member of Trade and Perform. Once you are and you're good with those signals and it's working for you and you want to add more, let me know. That's pretty much how it works. Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Good luck in your trading. Stay green, or at least stay on process. I'll see y'all later.